Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific. It's all in a day. It is Sunday morning, folks, and I am here to speak my heart. Yesterday was an interesting day, and I wanted to share you a simple day as events unfolded. And I think it's important because while many people who get on my channel and think and laugh, I thought, you know what? And when somebody made a video saying that my channel is a magnet for trouble, that was told to me in my 20s. Two people told me that. One in a negative way and one in a positive way. One was a friend that I had who always felt the need to belittle me and make fun of me that I had moved around, that I hadn't been in the same place for 20 years, that, he grew up in a very sheltered life. He had parents that favored him, but looked at his brother as second rate. His brother talked to me one day, and I poured my heart out, and I said, John's my friend, but there's problems. And his brother told me, now you know what I grew up with. John got good grades. John was the favored one. John this, John that. And I remember we all went to help him move from one location to another location. He had purchased a house. And basically, John stood around and gave orders while everybody else unloaded the truck, and he did nothing. The same thing played out when he came up to my house in Virginia, Minnesota, and he stood in the back of the truck, sliding things from the front of the truck to the back of the truck. And I said, you know what? I said, with all due respect, I can get all that stuff. I'm going up and down basement stairs, around corners and angles and stuff to get stuff into the house, and he's not lifting a finger. The guy was 3 times my size. And after years of this dysfunctional friendship, I finally ended it. But I remember he said years ago, dude, you're kind of like a magnet for trouble. And I saw that at the bus company I worked at. The beer drinkers. I remember a guy by the name of George. A guy who girls would go crazy after simply because he had a house close to University of Minnesota Duluth, painted green, and he hosted toga parties and provided kegs. And I've learned something about girls in this country since then. You provide beer, you have all the girls you want on your side. Doesn't matter if you're handsome, doesn't matter if you have a heart, they don't care. And thus my view began to build over and over, realizing my detractors are out there. Oh, here he goes about American women again. Yes, I will. And I'm going to tell you just a simple day yesterday that I don't go looking for trouble. But yes, it definitely finds me. I apologize. For some reason, I have allergies this morning. So I will be back and forth so I don't blow my nose on my video, which people just love when I do that. What I'm about to tell you is going to get the attention of my haters, my enemies, and I'm going to call them my enemies. They are my enemies. These are more than just trolls. These have become enemies. They are enemies of God. They are enemies of Pacific. And I want to say something to my viewers. I want to say something to somebody who still wants to stir up trouble and still talk crap about me. Let me read you something. First of all, let me read you this verse. I was reading my chapter today in Isaiah 48, and I was shocked. I was like, how timely. It ends with this. There is no peace for the wicked, says the Lord. I thought about the attacks that have been mounted against me, one from a so-called Christian perspective, the other from a very insidious perspective. And I thought, wow, there is no difference between the two. And that, first of all, when you confront somebody of a sin, and you keep going on and on and on, even after the sin has stopped, you've went above and beyond biblical protocol. 1 Corinthians 5, it is actually reported that there is immorality among you, and immorality of such a kind as does not exist even among the Gentiles, that someone has his father's wife. And you become arrogant and have not mourned, instead, in order that the one who had done this deed might be removed from your midst. For I, on my part, though absent in body but present in spirit, have already judged him who has so committed this, as though I were present. In the name of our Lord Jesus, when you are assembled, and I with you in spirit, with the power of our Lord Jesus, I have declared to deliver such a one to Satan for the destruction of his flesh, that his spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord Jesus. Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump of dough? Clean out the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, just as you are in fact unleavened, for Christ our Passover also has been sacrificed. It also says in the Bible, verse 12 of the same chapter, 1 Corinthians 5, for what have I to do with judging outsiders? Do you not judge those who are within the church? But those who are outside God judges. Remove the wicked man from among yourselves. You notice that in America, churches, they are trying to attract all the wicked in there, and we're not supposed to be doing that. I don't know why this is. It took me a long time from becoming a Christian to realize that we try to attract unbelievers to church. We always encourage people to bring a friend Sunday, and give people little gifts and little medals and awards. And I'm afraid that we have churches full of unsaved people that are there for the coffee shop, for the rock music, but they're not growing. That being said, that if anybody rightly understands the church is a body of believers. That it is our job to go out and reach the lost. Not the pastor's job. He calls the wicked those that are outside. He says that any man who calls himself a brother and is involved in this stuff needs to be put out of the church. The purpose was not to do what some people have done on my site, to harangue, to lie, to accuse, to vilify, to demonize. It's to put them out of the fellowship in hopes that they would repent. Pacific isn't posting pictures anywhere. Not on my computer, nowhere. And FP is demanding that I make an apology. I don't owe him one. His manner of dealing with this was nothing short of sleazy, in the flesh, and not God-glorifying. Accusing me of preaching false doctrine, I'm going to apologize to him? You got to be kidding. Absolutely not. I don't owe him an apology. His motive was not corrective. His motive was completely punitive. And there's no difference between what he is doing and what Lore Master's doing. And there's a reason I'm mentioning Lore Master. Please stay tuned. Because those that are my faithful fans, you're going to open your mouth and go, oh my gosh. Because those that really care about me are not going to wish that this was happening at all. We got a lot of bad people on this channel that have showed up. Some of them are Christians, believe it or not. That are not mature in the faith, that don't always use discernment. Some that I've even respected. But I've noticed there is a difference between me. I don't say what is sugar-coated. Others do. Others have their forms, and that's fine. I don't expect everybody to be just like me. But some people are not a magnet for trouble because they're not as pointed as I am. Jesus was a magnet for trouble. Did anybody bother to notice that? Jesus did not look for trouble at all, but boy, it sure tried to find him. People constantly trying to trap him. Constantly. I am not equating my life to Jesus. He's an example that I am fail miserably. But there are elements in my life that God, in his own sovereign graciousness, decided to put in my life. And one is, I have a penchant for truth. I do study out the Word. And as somebody said, I know Scripture. Yes, I do. Of course I'm convicted. But who of us does not get off in the flesh? Some people who think they don't get off in the flesh are too busy being politically correct, too busy not offending people, and they spend more energy and time making sure they tailor everything just the right way. Well, good for you. But I am me. And just being me, whether it's in traffic, whether it's in a mall, whether it's anywhere, that has been the story of my life. That Pacific grew up realizing more and more, man, I feel like I'm the runt of the litter. Does anybody know what that is? Farm term. The runt of the litter was a smaller than normal baby. The one that couldn't run as fast, the one that wasn't as quick, and the others just kind of ignored it or teased it. Pacific has felt like that all his life. Yesterday, aside from doing yard work, trimming branches, mowing, weed eating, whipping this yard into shape, it has been a year with rains, record growth, weeds growing like Jurassic Park, weeds 4 feet tall along the fence line. And I was like, wow. And I took a nice hot bath, and another Saturday started to give way to another lonely Saturday. And yesterday I was down, but I tried to make the most of it. I was down because all this bantering back and forth with bad people, people whose intentions are not good, people's intentions to remove me, my channel, to make veiled threats. I contacted my ex yesterday and said, we have a problem, and you need to know what it is. I told her about what's going on my channel, and I said, you're not going to believe who's showed up at the table. And connected himself with Lore Master, or else Lore Master found him himself. If my fans can't see there's something diabolical and satanic going on here, maybe you need to stop watching my channel and just go somewhere else. I'm not manufacturing this. Let me tell you what I went through yesterday. I was really unsure of myself yesterday. I was insecure. I didn't go to my normal favorite restaurant. I thought, change it up. Went to a Asian buffet. And I'm going to say something. People get mad. I don't care. If you don't like my channel, go away. Going to an Asian buffet, and of course, there's a couple gals in there that are nice to me. None of them were there. And wouldn't you know, I get some frumpy, dumpy white woman, a little bit younger than me. She's got that fake plastic face. And I could tell the minute she looks at me, her body language was one of, like, looking down on me. I was like, oh, boy, this is great. I go to lunch. I got to pay for lunch. Pay a little more for lunch because it's an all-you-can-eat. And I got to have her as my server. Lovely. And the body language, she was not warm. She was not friendly. And I thought, she's not getting any tip from me. Ate my lunch. I just stared out the window. But then I started watching the Asian girls that work there. All of them uptight. I understand they're on the job. And Pacific, who caught yellow fever, I'm over it. I need to make that very clear to my viewers. And I reflected and drifted off while I was eating that the U.S. really is a leveler. That the U.S. really is an acid test of what is in a woman's heart and a man's. When I was at the Vietnamese restaurant alone last week, the Vietnamese guys are very nice to me. They're friendly. They always talk to me. And they always joke, chicken fried rice? Yes, sir. And even while I'm eating, they'll lean against the table and, how you doing? And they thought that the Filipina friend was my girlfriend. I said, no, she's a friend. She has a boyfriend, but she's kind of like my little sister. So how come you have no girlfriend? I said, And I started to tell him. He said, that's true. And I told him about the Vietnamese girl that worked. I said, I really liked her, and then she's gone. He says, she quit one day. She just quit. I said, I think she was interested, and I didn't know whether to give my phone number. And I said to him, but I noticed something. I said, even these sweet Asian girls that are sweet over there, when they get to the U.S., and he finished the sentence, he says, yeah, no good, no more. He says, they come to America, they change, they want money, they're rude, they take on their man. He says, you do well not to find woman in U.S. He said, even my own, the Vietnamese, they come over here, they wrecked, they're no good. I laughed. My viewers have said that. Others have said that. Same thing with Mexican women. If they're in the U.S. for a while, they start getting a taste for a wallet. They love the taste of wallet. It's gotten so bad now that not only are the good-looking white women that way, but the BBWs are that way. I was really alone yesterday, and I felt alone, and I felt like, man, why do I keep this channel going? Why? There's so many freaking losers trying to bring me down, attacking drag sewer rats. The internet is a jungle. I was very uncomfortable. Even when I got up to get my plate, I have to walk past people sitting at their table staring, and I thought, boy, I'm not doing well today. I'm not Mr. Confident today. I grabbed my plate, put my head down, avoided eye contact. I look at some high-maintenance, hot-looking white woman dressed to kill, and I deliberately said, I don't even want to go anywhere near her. I'll go around to the other. There's little islands where the food is and the hood's over them. And yesterday, I was insecure as hell. Insecure because I feel betrayed. Insecure because I notice racial dynamics. Even racial dynamics of where people of same color will defend people of same color. And when it comes down to it, that this has been Pacific's story all his life. I've seen it at work. People have a problem with somebody. But the minute somebody has a problem with a white man, and I'm going to be very blunt, the black people will all align with the black people against that white person, even if they hate each other. I see people wanting to gloss over some sins. I would see people wanting to ignore things. And I said, you know what? I can't control people. That's fine. Don't talk to these people anymore. Just don't. Let them go. Judas's. I didn't realize there was so much interconnected web that people that I recommended everybody to watch, now I'm starting to go, shoot. I'm going to be much more careful about that in the future. No more putting my stamp of approval on anything until enough time goes by. I was wrong about my friend in Yugoslavia. She's going to be 22. I was like, you're 21? I have more mature conversation than I do with women my age in the United States of America. But let me say something. As I'm sitting in the restaurant, I notice the Asian women are uptight. They won't even look at me and smile as they're walking that far from my table. reflecting on the last week of drama on the YouTube channel and starting to go, gosh, you know, I feel really torpedoed. I left there, went on a drive across the metro all the way to Saudi Arabia. Parked all the way at the other end of the Aurora Mall. Went in there. Excuse me for the sniffling. Walked through one of the major anchors, went into the mall, loaded with people. And it hits me as I'm walking in that I'm the minority. I'm like, boy, this place has really changed. When I lived out there with my then wife, there's a lot of white people there. Lots of blacks and Hispanics, lots of people speaking Mexican, and it suddenly dawns on me, I'm a foreigner in my own country, folks. Thank you very much. Everybody's coupled up. And Pacific sailing alone, and I'm walking through this place, and I'm not a jerk, but I see some black people, teenagers, 20-something-year-old, couple kids, you know, walking 800 feet wide, and I'm picking my opportunity and staying back where I can find a hole and go through. They stop towards the rail, and then they stop in front of the store, and there's a gap, and some couple comes out. I yield to them. And I very gently kind of look to my left and right and gently walk through. Didn't brush anybody. And sure enough, the black girl dressed like a slut whore says, "Excuse me." And I didn't break stride. I yelled, "Excuse you." And I'll tell you, with my mood yesterday, I felt it. I thought, say something to me, girl. I will go off on you like a frickin' piece of 4th of July fireworks. I was ready. No, not physical. Here's what I was going to say. Oh, I gotcha. I'm a white guy. I didn't brush you. I didn't cut you off. But you got to make an issue because I'm white. Are you guys racist? I carefully waited for an opportunity to go through. You got your kids over here and you got your teen here, and they're all wandering around like this because you can't walk in a straight effing line. You stupid people. Don't start with me. It's people like you that are wrecking our country. You voted in your lame president because he's colored. I was ready to go, and I was ready to play race card. Let me tell you what this country's doing to Pacific. It is angering me. No, I'm not racist. But I've lived in Denver, and I know the way these people are. There is a low-class ghetto mentality of a certain percentage of black people in Denver, Aurora, all of that. And Aurora's always had a reputation. Let me give you a couple highlights. I was on a city bus, watched a chunky black girl. You could tell she had the whole ghetto. Disgusting hairstyle, disgusting look on her face. I'm in the back of the Colfax bus years ago. She's got her feet all the way across the aisle, and all the white people getting off that bus are careful to step over and around her, doing the hamster Olympics to careful not. And I'm going to tell you, my Fighting Irish came out, and I thought, F that. I was alone. I went to get off the bus, and I stepped over her, but I took my left toe and dragged it over her leg. Not hard, but to make a point. She does what every black woman, almost every black woman does. Excuse you! I turned around and said, excuse you, get your feet out of the aisle and quit making people move around you. And she goes off, and I said, are you racist, lady? And the doors opened, and I stepped off into the day on Colfax and thought, kiss my little white arse. Can I talk to my white viewers? Are any of you getting sick of what is happening in this country? That racism has turned all the way around, and it is coming after us with its fangs out? That black people in Missouri can tear up everything, people's businesses, start fires, and the media does this and says, look it, look it, look it, and fosters it, and we're the bad guy all the time. Now, I don't endorse racism, using the word nigger and stuff. I don't like that. I hate it that black people use it with each other and think that that's okay, but when a white man drops that word, they're ready to fight. So that's one. I thought, wow, you can't even walk through a mall without somebody starting crap. Fortunately, she didn't say anything after I said, excuse you. Because something else is happening today. When you are bold right back, they don't know what to do with it. Some. I noticed something's happening more in Denver that I'm shocked at. Before, when you used to yell, people would yell back and it'd go back and forth. But now, people are more willing to get in their cars and do something bold and rude. But out there in public, they're a little less. There seems to be an air of, uh-oh. I walk through the mall. I see lots of teenage girls dressed like hoochies. And I watch their faces and I watch them dressed, just walking through the mall. And I thought, mall rats. They don't work. They don't do anything. They just walk through the mall and think they're so cool. The one positive thing is I went into a shoe store and found a pair of shoes, New Balance, for $45 that fit. And I'm like, shoot, I'll grab those. I'm sorry, not there. That was JCPenney. I went to JCPenney and I get a woman with a heavy accent. I thought she's from Russia. She goes, would you like to apply for a charge card? I'm like, not really. Well, you get a 15% discount. I said, does the card cost me money? She goes, no. I said, okay, let's do it. So she goes through all this stuff, social security number, blah, 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 blah. She goes, but you have to use your charge card. I said, no, I'm not going to use my charge card. Well, then you don't get the discount. I said, that's fine. She goes, do you have a debit card? I said, yes, I do. And I said, She goes, well, you can pay it off right now with that. I said, let's do that. And she goes, but if you don't use this charge card in 12 months, they'll discontinue it. And I thought to myself, perfect. I get the discount, card goes in the trash. Perfect. I said, I only have one credit card. You only have one credit card? So I was chit-chatting with her while she's going through the whole process. I said, ma'am, where are you from? She goes, the Ukraine. And I thought, interesting. As soon as I bought the pair of shoes, I was out the door. I thought, you know what? I don't want to be in here. I don't want to be in here. And it hit me. The reason I drove so far was just for a drive. Turned the music loud. Went cruising through the metro. Then when I left the mall, if you think it would stop there, get out of the parking lot, double left turn lane. I'm in the inside turn lane, and I see a vehicle in front of me with four ways on, doors open. I'm like, crap, I'm stuck in this lane. A woman in a car with tinted windows with Texas plates behind me. So I put my turn signal on. I wait a minute, get an opportunity to go. The car in the right lane starts to move forward. I start to go, and she hauls around me, cuts me off, and I laid on the horn. I thought, no way. And this is another thing that people do in America that's really, really irritating. They think because they pulled out first, they have the right of way. People don't look that you got your signal on and let you graciously get out and follow in suit behind you. And I admit, that had about all I've had all week on this channel. I have tried to be nice. I have tried to be kind. And I tell you what, and I watch people that I know justify themselves, excuse themselves for what they do, align themselves with people that are making other false accusations, other people that are tearing after my female viewers. And that's okay, and they're not going to confront them. And I've noticed something all my life. I've noticed a pattern of people always telling me that I've got to change, but then they ignore all this other stuff, peripheral, that's going on. Pacific doesn't like to offend people and drive them away, but in cases like this, I want them to go away. With friends like that, who needs enemies? Light changes, we go. I signal, get around that stalled vehicle, get in the lane. That woman goes to the right, I go on the far left. And I lost it. As I pulled up next to her, I looked right at her, and of course now she won't even look at me. And this is another thing about society is nobody thinks they have to apologize. Nobody thinks, you know what, I was rude, I didn't let you in. And I did. My truck's got clear windows, and I went all the way across the street. I know you see me. Well, look at that. Feast your eyes on it. People in this country are rude. We got a whole underground network of that on the internet. And most of the trolls I found when I was in chat rooms, the meanest people were from the U.S. every time. The trolling, the dogging on the internet seems to be at an all-time high in this country. The land of the free, the home of the brave. And I ask myself that over and over and over. There's several reasons for that. Number one, people aren't happy. And back to this verse in Isaiah chapter 48, there is no peace for the wicked, says the Lord. People that are lost are never content. Pacific grew up on Leave It to Beaver, Speed Racer, the Flintstones. And it was a rude awakening to realize it is not out there like it is on television. You don't wrap everything up in 20 minutes and have all your problems solved. And a disturbing fact that hit me is it doesn't matter if you're a nice guy. It doesn't matter if you go the speed limit. It doesn't matter if you respect people. It doesn't matter if you yield and kind of watch what's going on and then find a hole and gently and graciously go through it. I didn't even move fast. And then somebody's smarting off. It's like, wow, no matter what I do as a white guy, no matter what I do as a Christian, no matter what I do out there, people are just ucky. And as I'm driving, I see people hauling around me. It's 40 miles an hour, doing the slalom. And I admit, I was keyed up then. Get up there, and I'm like, you know, if that guy's right next to me, he's got his windows down, I'm say, you did all that to get to that red light? Dude, you're a real winner. The answer to the question is yes, people are stupid, but they don't see it. People are blind, and blind people can't tell they're blind. Then I get on a site, some people advertising wanting to go to a movie or just go on a lunch date or do something in the evening, and I wrote one woman that wanted lunch, 55, white woman, just trying, never giving up. The whole day goes by, I get home yesterday, and I check, nothing, and then she writes, she goes, oh, hi, just got back from the store, and it's very nice out there today, and it's going to be 100 Wednesday and Thursday. And I'd send her a picture of me at Llama Island behind a big boulder. And she goes, my son and I are moving in a few weeks. She goes, so you like to climb? And I wrote her and I said, rock climb I haven't done, but I like to hike. I said, where are you moving to? And I said, do you want to do anything? Here's my number. No response. And then it dawned on me, why did she post looking for a friend and a lunch date that could turn into a long-term relationship? But, oh, I'm moving in 3 weeks. And the first thing I thought is another flake. Another woman had posted yesterday to see Amy, the story of Amy Winehouse. I didn't know much about it. And I saw that she posted again yesterday. And I thought, shoot, she isn't finding anybody. And I don't even know what she looks like. And I thought, well, going to a movie, meeting somebody at a movie can't be bad. Let's do that. I wrote her, sent her a picture. I said, the trailer looks good for this. I said, here's a couple places we can go, the one near you or the one near me, because she said at which locale she lived by. No response. Ad was still there. Another woman, a BBW. I even tried it. Wanted to go see the Pixar movie. And I wrote nothing. And I thought, what is this wall up in Denver, Colorado, between me and them, that even if I lower my expectations, they're still not interested in me? And I thought, Lord, are you doing that? But then I called and talked to my friend in Tennessee. Redhead woman, slender, freckles, cute, takes care of herself. has a job, had her own house in Florida, does well. She goes, I've been asking myself the same question because I can't seem to find a good man here. And she's got a boyfriend that broke up with her that still keeps calling her, apologizing, and then turns around and blames her, and he's living with the mistress. I like the guy, but I look at him and go, what are you doing? And I asked her last night, I said, why do you keep unblocking him? Why do you keep texting him? You broke up. He lived with you. He had affairs on you. He's living with the mistress. And I'm not going to get into all the other personal stuff he does, but he's got some issues. One of my viewers on Facebook wrote me about this person and said, you need to be careful about talking to her because she did her boyfriend wrong. And I said, oh boy. Actually, I know other sides of that story. He's addicted to Oxycontin, and he was chasing a teenage girl around a while ago, and we all got problems. So I don't look down on him for that, but based on what I've heard, that she was good to him and he wasn't good to her. And he's living with the girl that he cheated on that caused her to leave him. And not only leave, but sell her house and vacate the state. As she said to me yesterday, I get lonely. I felt it too. Yesterday, I almost called the black girl that I went out with. And I thought, don't even do it, Pacific. You blessed her. You were nice to her. She hasn't texted you, said anything. Don't you dare. She'll say yeah, because it's a free outing for her. She doesn't care about your heart. Girls are users today, man. And a lot of black girls, as evidenced in the malls, they're always looking for something that a white person does to yell racism. I noticed something when I brought that black girl over here to the house. We walked in the side yard, and the people of the house had their daughter and son-in-law and company over, and she goes, oh, I don't want to meet them. I said, they won't bite. She was afraid to come into the presence of a group of white people. And the first thing that they all did is, here, we got some steak, we got some help yourself. There was no hesitation. They made her feel welcome and everything. She was insecure as hell. And it dawned on me, Pacific, you can't date a black woman in this country. They're so used to hanging in their ghetto neighborhood and their black community that they get over here and they're out of their element. Pacific is different. I don't care if I got to drive into the heart of a black neighborhood to get a date. I don't care what they think of me. That's one good thing about what I've been through. And she kept mentioning when we were holding hands to Cherry Creek Mall. Oh my gosh, you notice everybody staring at us? I thought she can't handle that. She's not on a maturity level to handle that. She likes me. But somewhere inside she determined, I'm not willing to go through all this. Americans would rather live in their little bondage boxes than break free and deal with a little bit of repercussion. Why does Pacific attract trouble? I don't know. It's been that way all my life. Why did I attract parents that adopted me that don't give a flying flip about me? Why was I born is the greater question. Why did God bring me into this world? I don't know the answer to that. I ask that all the time. I said, God, what is your point? That the most of my life has been nothing but suffering. Oh, it's easy for the guys to look at it and go, you got to go to Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong and it was an epic fail. Yeah, in the flesh, we had fun with a few girls. Big deal. At the end of the day, that doesn't give you a medal or a chest to pin it on in God's eyes. You think I don't realize that? That most of what we spend our life consuming our lust and interest on is all going to go pfft. You guys ever remember those they look like a little medicine tablet? 4th of July fireworks, they're called snakes. You set it on the ground and light it and it goes. and it sits there and putters, sputters, and putters, and this little ash trail of a snake. But then after it's burnt out and you blow, it goes, whew. Did you know that's most of our life? That even if you have an interest, and there's nothing wrong with an interest per se, depending on what it is, sorry, I'm blowing my nose. Well, I work a day in that yard and I pay for it. That even Pacific knows deep down inside. We know that our bodies are going to die one day, and we forget that when you look at a woman and go, oh my gosh, she's hot. Yeah, the only reason she's hot is you got to maintain it, shave it, wash it, shower it. So I drive home. And the reason people get into sin, the reason people go back to pushing the stupid button over and over again is boredom. And again, I thought there is no place to go in Denver. Everybody says, well, go hiking. Good idea. Go hiking in the woods. Go hiking around a hot 90-degree bike path where there's no shade trees and get burned like a lobster. No thanks. The only thing there is to do in Denver in the daytime is go to places where people spend money. Malls, shopping center, antique stores. But you don't meet people doing that. You're not going to go to a mall and have a armada of girls standing there going, oh, we're so glad you came. Colorado prides itself on being fiercely independent. And it is. And all you got to do is watch people in the way they drive. They're proud of their independence. Traffic laws don't mean a thing. Yesterday there was a guy in front of me, a black guy. His lane ends, so what does he do? He speeds up and just drifts right over in front of me. No signal, no courtesy. And I'm like, people suck. They don't even try to be non-offensive out there in their cars. Those same idiots will get in a public place and go, TMI, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. But then they'll get in their car, and they are not politically correct behind the wheel of those, are they? The Americans compartmentalize their life. They get in their car, they become a monster. They get in public, and they become all shy. I've watched this, and I don't look for trouble. I went in my truck, I try to be positive, and I was listening to music thinking, wouldn't it be nice just to have a girl where we don't talk, we just got the music, and we're just going for a drive and enjoying the company of each other. The Pacific can't even expect simple things anymore. That's gone. Because women in this country aren't simple anymore. They're loaded with baggage. They're loaded with problems. They've been reprogrammed by the grid of thinking, the prevailing grid of thinking. And then I read a story yesterday that really disgusted me. San Diego, California, Chinese woman. She's in trouble with the U.S. government. She's been selling fake goods using company names like Chanel. All these different corporations got a lawsuit against her because they used their website to sell, claiming she was selling their goods. Counterfeiting. Making millions of dollars. Bought a house in San Diego. She has not showed up at court at all. Goes back and forth to China. And she's going to university in California down there. And I thought, see, there you go. Right there, problem number one. Have you noticed that our universities are a safe haven for the bad people? Colorado Heights, Dartmouth and Federal, do some investigation. When I was dating an Asian woman, she had an interview there for admissions position. And they told her that you will have illegal aliens. Did you know that the university doesn't even screen them and say, oh, sorry, you don't have a visa, you can't go. The universities let them come. Why would our own educational institutions allow the illegals to come, pay for an education, or even qualify for grants and stuff, instead of saying, you got to become a citizen or have your paperwork processed too. The U.S. is the only country that does that crap. Try to do that with a university over in China and see how far you get. I don't have a visa to be here in China, but I'm going to go to the university. No way would they allow that. The U.S. is the only nation in the world that shoots itself in the foot. I want you to think about that. The U.S. is the #1 country for production of pornography, the #1 country in the world for addictions, the #1 country in the world for antacids, Prozac, stress reducers, people on meds. Land of the free, home of the brave, right? Getting your apple pie Chevy pickup, and yeah, it's fun out there, isn't it? Neurosis, driver neurosis. You're out there and somebody's got to beat you to the next red light. Speed limit doesn't mean a damn thing anymore. And as evidenced by even fans getting, or not fans, but watchers on my channel, poop stains, I call them. Oh my gosh, this guy's got a problem with people speeding. Ha, 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 ha. I do, because I see what happens when those people aren't as skilled as they think they are and get in an accident. It isn't pretty. I don't care what happens to you, pal. But then you just hit somebody else. Now they don't have a car, got to get a rental car, and if they don't have enough insurance, you've just messed up somebody else's life. You're selfish. Now let's move to the next part of the dropping of the bomb. I called my ex yesterday and told her what's going on. And I've noticed something. Removing the ability to comment has been very productive. Very productive. And we will continue to do that. It's sad. I hate to punish my viewers that have good things to say. It sucks. But because Google is retarded, and Google doesn't allow me when I block somebody to block them. And who came up with that stupid idea? I can block them so I can't see them, but they can still comment on my channel. Hey, Google, pull your head out of your butt. When we block them, we should have the right. It is my channel. They can watch it, but they have done something, and they should be punitive and penalized that, no, you can't comment on my channel anymore, but yet you let them do that. That's crap. And Google is forcing its way into everything. And the government doesn't do a darn thing. I thought there was an act years ago in history in the government that we cannot form a monopoly. Well, it's going on all the time. Phone carriers, cable companies swallowing up each other. Have you looked at the cost of cable? It is ridiculous. They are cleaning up, dude. And you know how I know they're cleaning up? Because I hire a bunch of 20-something-year-old putzes that don't know how to drive Xfinity vans or Comcast vans that are covered in dents that are cutting you off to race to your house to hook up your cable. And then I hear people say that they're unfriendly, unprofessional, and they don't care if they hire and fire them. They're making in big profits when they're hiring crap people like that to represent their crap company. And I'm going to say something. This is my explicit. Why do people waste money on cable? Because of their love of entertainment. Cable is a waste of time. It is. But what's happened is people are so bored now, they've got to have something going all the time. My friend back east, I love her dearly. Nice woman. We're able to talk and let her heart out. I did not call the black woman. I thought, why would you do that? I said, why would you call him? You get back in a relationship with him. Do you really think things are going to be suddenly deja vu different? Number one, he hasn't left the mistress he's living with. Number two, he hasn't gotten a job to make enough money to go get his own place. He is a dependent. I said, and every time he calls and texts you, it always starts off with him saying, I'm sorry, and then turning around and blaming you. He jumped on her for selling her house and leaving Florida. Excuse me, that was a right. I don't understand things. I don't understand the rationale of people, but it makes sense. The gentleman that comes and works the big vegetable garden here, he's a brother, and we were talking, and he said, I was telling him about, man, I've got a problem with profanity. I said, it's gotten so bad in me. He said, yeah, when I get mad, I fling words around. He says, even my own mother heard me one day and very politely said, is that necessary? I started laughing. I guess, is that necessary? Of course it isn't necessary. It depends on how mad I am. Yeah, it's necessary. I'm venting. The Bible says, put away profane speech. Let no coarse jesting or foolish talk. I have ceased looking at Lore Master's site. It has become a cesspool of iniquity. Makes Babylon look like preschool. Somebody's been writing me and informing me of what is going on there, and now there's gay videos of guys doing it and everything. This is a real great site out of Sweden. And I should have made the connection when it said the site's out of Sweden. It was told to me, and I didn't verify it, that Lore Master has connected himself to the dreg that was hanging around with my son. The bisexual guy, and we're going to talk about that guy. Because now, there's a couple things my viewers need to know. Number one, Mr. Dreg, you have caused enough trouble. And it's evident by the fact that you're still hanging around like a fly on fresh poo out of a dog's butt, that you're a miserable little wretch of a 95-pound poop stain. You are a loser. You sent a text to my ex a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I'll pay you $300 to live in the basement. Sorry, basement's rented out, homie. And you're not welcome there. And I've made it clear to my ex, don't you dare let him live in that place. She said, I'd rather slit my wrists. I said, don't text this guy, don't call him, don't talk to him. He's now connected with one of my arch enemies on YouTube, ex-MGTOW troublemaker. Lore Master, for you to connect to him, wow, you can't get any lower than that. And the guy that wrote me said, this guy's a 95-pound SHIT stain, and he's talking tough. The gentleman who's renting in there is an adult, and he's actually the one adult my son hangs out with that I actually respect. He's got a girlfriend, he's got a job, he's paid my ex money for rent, and he's responsible. And I've been keeping tabs on how's that all going, and it's been going good. He's even been getting on my son, man, you need to get up, you need to do this, you need to do that. Good. The guy's moniker is Vil Christ. That is not his real name. It took us forever to get a hold of his real name. I know where his grandparents live. I've got the address in my paperwork because of the accident. I have thought many times of driving right down there and knocking on the door and saying, do you guys know what your grandson is doing? And the damage he's doing and the trouble he's making? And then it's been communicated to me that more and more of his so-called friends have seen what he is, and they have left. Hook, line, and sinker. They want nothing to do with him. They said, we've tried to talk to him, and all he does is yell and cuss and threaten everybody. He was in an apartment with the guy that was working where I worked, fueling buses. The guy that I was told by others got fired for failing a UA. A guy that came on to one of the girls there that's a friend of mine, and she's like, I had no interest in him, and he comes up to me and looks at me like, well, I know you want to go out with me, and she's like, no, I don't. That it was just, for me being a magnet for trouble, quote unquote, I go to my job, and the stuff swirling around my son's life, I go into a large employer, and I've got to work with somebody who's connected with this stain on society. A troubled individual that this verse applies. Excuse me. There's no peace for the wicked. This kid doesn't have peace. The minute he opens his mouth, he demonstrates that. He is a symbol of darkness. He is finished in descent. And our country lets people like that in that hate our flag, hate what we stand for, but yet he takes advantage of all of our freedoms to foment his venomous rebellion and hatred towards every one of us. And him and Loremaster have connected. That's satanic. But then it dawned on me. It doesn't matter if it's Loremaster. It doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama. It doesn't matter if it's Bill Christ. It doesn't matter who it is. They're all one and the same. They're all lost souls. They're all going to the same place. And they're all of the same master. Of course it would make sense for all of them to unite and unite forces. Pharisees and the Sadducees didn't get along with each other until they went to crucify Jesus, and they were all slapping each other on the back. Childish and immature Christians will start aligning with the forces of wickedness too. I've noticed that. I've had to learn the hard way that just because somebody's a Christian doesn't mean that they exercise discernment all the time. There's times I don't exercise discernment. Many times. And there's times I do. Yesterday, it just hit me like a freight train. Boy, there's something evil going on again. I called my son and said, "Are you hanging out with this guy? Put your friend on the phone. I want to talk." I called my ex and I said, "We need to talk." I told her everything. Then I called my son's probation officer and said, "Here's the site. I'll send it to you in an email and I want you to look at it. Bill Christ is at it again." Bill Christ's Facebook has been monitored by this, and the probation officer has said this guy is a loser. As one of my friends wrote me and said, he's a Facebook star, nothing else. And you know what's sad? And when I talk about our society, these people that are laughing about me, talking about drivers and American women, these same people drive like crap. These people don't respect their employers. So he's living with the guy that got fired from my workplace. Now he's out of there. Texted my ex, "I'll pay you $300 a month." She says, no. She goes, "You ought to see the messages I've gotten since then. Hate, cussing, threats." I am praying the day that God gives this kid his just reward, because he's just doing nothing good for society in any way, shape, or form. He's a legend in his own mind. He's a tough-talking, loudmouth, small fry that doesn't even have good hygiene. The few times I've been around him, he's got rank BO. He looks like he just woke up out of bed, and yet pretty girls date this guy. And of course, that pumps up his already overly inflated Finnish ego. And I look at this stuff and I go, you got to be kidding me. The guy has threatened me in a hospital room. The guy mouths off because the guy knows that I can't do anything. It would affect me more than him. That's another problem I have in the U.S. is that these people can provoke the stuff out of us and we can't do anything. We'll be the ones that get in trouble. But they do things behind the scenes. Now they get on the internet and they do their little demons cackling around a campfire type of scenario. I have prayed for this kid. I pray that God would open his eyes. It's not happening. I have prayed that he would mature. That's not happening. One of the most powerful things about sex is when a good-looking girl does you, it gives you a shot of hormone cortisone, and you start thinking you're a rock star. So I've always said the worst thing you can do is have these teenage cocky little boys or these 20-something-year adults have girls actually give in to them. It just infuses them with a shot of courage. Oh, I'm hot because she did me. That's one of the reasons you see so many young boys just taking on everything. They think because they've done it with a pretty girl, they're now a man. Sorry, sticking your wiener in somebody's deal doesn't make you a man. There is such irresponsibility about sexual liaisons today. Then it started to become clear. Bill Christ's Facebook page is loaded with penis and butt stuff. There was a picture of a mushroom with a dent in it and a penis-shaped mushroom, and it says, "There isn't mushroom." Ha ha, that's funny, Bill. Facebook is a testimony to trailer trash. Facebook is a testimony to a kid who has no creative anything about him. How in the world does Pacific find love for people like this? People who, without me doing anything, have been the target of their ire. Who has made on the site an innuendo that I touched my son. I mentioned that. My son's reaction was swift. He posted addresses on there? I said, yep. And he said, WTF. I said, let this be a lesson to you in who you hang out with. This guy's still causing trouble. Still. That all three of us have nothing to do with him. And this guy is so miserable, he's now going to focus on us again. The guy is a coward. He's all this. You notice the small guys that have nothing to back them up? I remember he bragged to me that he beat up some guy at Red Rocks that was twice his size. He must have been stoned. This is the new America, folks. This is why my video is titled, Have We Entered the Twilight Zone? We have. Where wrong is right, right is wrong. Where mouthy, bad hygiene, disgusting little punks can take on somebody 49, a father of a son, and say unspeakable things that I would never have dreamed of saying when I was his age to my grandparents. He was thrown out of his grandparents' house, came to my ex-wife's house crying, complete with tears, 2 o'clock in the morning, pulling on my ex-wife's sympathy. He lived there. He didn't pay any rent. He didn't do a darn thing. But then turn against her, speak evil of her, let me in the house and tell me what a piece of trash woman she was, and then try to tell me how to be an effective parent. You little poop stain are telling me how to be a good parent when you can't even be a good citizen in society? You got to be kidding me, dude. You run around thinking you're so mighty and you're so tough. You're a legend in your own mind, kid. And I told the probation officer, we need to get something done about this guy. We've got to find a way to get the law to get this guy so that he hangs himself in the justice system, and I'll stand there in court and say, put him away. It's only a matter of time before this crap stain crosses the line. It's going to happen. He's mouthy. He has no respect for God. He has no respect for anybody, let alone himself. His own friends have tried to warn him, and they're defecting his camp like rats on a sinking ship. Good for them. This is the guy who grandstood last summer and said, oh, I'm getting an apartment. You don't even own your own place. You live with 2 people. La, 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 and gets on his Facebook, a little chicken coward, and says that, I'm taking advantage of 2 older people. Poop stain doesn't know a thing. I pay my own bills. I pay everything. And I work my butt off over here. My 1 day of hard labor, a half a day of Pacific's hard labor, is more than this guy's done in 20 years of existence. The problem with American people or people that have been allowed to come to this country, and if this guy thinks Finland's so great, maybe he needs to go back home. I wish he could get deported. I wish so bad he could get deported. We don't need you here. And our country lets this scourge come in. And what angers me about these people is they literally defecate all over our society. And they think they have a right to defecate all over our society. And then when they defecate on me or involve my son, And then they get mad because I verbally say something that is the truth, and then they go all off like a Roman candle some more. That we've raised a crop of people today that think they can do whatever they want, and nobody's allowed to say anything that hurts their little feelings. A bunch of butthurt, sensitive boys that aren't really boys, they're little girls that can't grow up. Have BO, don't shave, walk around in your filthy pants. Everybody gets a disease in his apartment because one guy sits on the couch with no underpants on. Disgusting. I look at these people, I look at their lives, and I go, you got to be kidding, and they're making fun of me? I never thought I'd see the day where things turn around where I'm trying the best I can. And you got people commenting on my parenting because you suddenly became friends with and tried to prey on my son. Prey, predator, pushy, put fear on everybody. Yes, our country allows, in the name of freedom, people like you to proliferate like rabbits. Yeah, I'd say Pacific's been under the gun lately. Every single day, this poop stain doesn't go away. That any of my fans, including myself, could overpower this guy is obvious. He's insecure as hell. He has no peace. He is not attractive in any way. He's not even handsome, and he doesn't even take care of himself. If you're such a man, little boy, why do you text my ex and explode because she won't rent to you? Are you out of your frickin' mind? We were told by the Lakewood Police Department and the detective and my son's probation officer, don't let that scumbag, their words, get anywhere near your son. They've seen your Facebook page and said this kid is disgusting. Trust me. If I could have you thrown in jail, I'm there with bells on my toes. You start barking around my back door and I catch you, I will make it happen. I will have you on a platter in the justice system. You stay away from me, you stay away from my son, you stay away from my ex. You go find something else to go pick at. You're not a man at all. You're a little girl. It is evident that you didn't have a good, loving home, and I'm sorry for that. Your grandparents raised you, and they let you stay there, and you get them mad, and then she throws you out. Dude, take a look at yourself. You're not promoting anything worth developing a legacy over. And just because you've got a whole bunch of Facebook fans that are drinking and driving and causing car wrecks and causing legal issues and causing problems, and people that kicked you out of apartments, and some have defected from your camp that actually have gotten over the fad of the emo queens, and they're growing up and moving on. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I have a 21-year-old friend in Yugoslavia who's seen your page, and she shakes her head and says, this kid is disgusting. She said that if you were over there in Serbia and stuff, that those Serbian men would have your head on a platter. You're nothing, dude. You're a legend in your own mind. You're a Facebook star. Just because some cute, troubled, malcontent girls go after you doesn't mean that you're hot. Hate to burst your bubble, but you've been mouthing off about me, and I haven't even talked about you lately. You want to focus on me? I'll give you the attention that you're deserved. You know what a pooper scooper is? It's a device for picking up dog poop and throwing it in the trash barrel. Dude, you are the lowest individual I've ever had any contact with in my life. You're not doing anything productive for anybody, anywhere. You're a wake of destruction. And you're proud of that. You like Satan. You love darkness. You're fascinated with people's buttholes. You're a sick little boy. You're a sick little puppy. You're part of the new generation of people who get all offended because somebody doesn't like it that you're promoting bisexual or homosexual behavior. Well, get over yourself, big boy. There's 6.9 billion people in the world, and they're not all going to agree with you. Go F with somebody else. But you're messing with the wrong people. Number one, that in spite of all my faults, I have an army that's bigger than you on my side, and it's God. And you can laugh and you can mock at that, but God's only going to let you go so far with your little whatever it is you're doing. And one day, where is it? Oh, it's not in here. It was a fly swatter. One day, God's just going to go, and you won't even hear a whimper. Right now, unrighteousness is on the throne in this country, in this world. There's no doubt about it. Pacific goes out there. I don't look for trouble, but yes, it finds me. And I'm going to make a bold statement that if Christians want to play that game and Christians want to get on my site and leave comments and then run back and leave nasty comments against me, like Kersey and others, he's losing his mind. You know what? That is such childish junior high garbage. If you have something to say to me, you come to me and say it. Don't go on somebody else's site and go, nanny, nanny, boo-boo, stick your head in doo-doo stuff. I don't need Christians like that. There's a war going on. I need some warriors with me that will lift me up in prayer because I sure need it. If you haven't been able to see that, then I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I get off track. I get depressed. I'm human. I get discouraged. And I have descended into stuff because I give up. Do you not understand that, women and men and Find Peace and others? You're quick to say, oh, look, he's doing this, he's doing that. You know, la-di-da, I'm glad you don't have a sex drive. I'm glad you don't have any of that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. And yeah, I do have a little predisposition towards that. But I'll tell you what. When I've got a society of women snubbing and ignoring me, teasing me, leading me on, when I've got all this fire and drama going on, do any of you stop and think that it doesn't matter if I'm a Christian and I'm human and sometimes I hit my breaking point too? Does any of that matter? No, I'm not whining. I'm not playing victim. So when you accuse me of being a little too sensitive and that I don't do things the way you do things, bite me. You gotta be kidding. I'm going through a lot more than you are, lady. Yes, that's to you, Deshaya. Oh my gosh, she mentioned me again. Yes, I did. Because I don't look at things the way you look at things is right. I try to look at things objectively and through the lens of truth. There's a lot going on right now. Do you think you could find it in your heart to pray for me? And not self-righteously, but do you think you could find a little bit of couth in you to realize why I got annoyed when you did what you did? And I'm sorry. Since Venus Star left a comment, I'll address her too. I really hope things get patched up. Venus, they can't. What she did was wrong. Explanation video aside, what she did was wrong. No, I don't hate Deshaya. In fact, I've encouraged women to go there because she has some good videos that are good for Christian stuff. And I will still tell people, she's got good stuff, go there. I haven't blocked her. I haven't run her out of my life. But yeah, Pacific is different. I call a spade a spade. When somebody does something wrong, I don't care how godly they are. It doesn't mean that everything you do is exactly godly either. You know, your lame little approach there that I just thumbs up. I didn't think it was anything. Oh, no, but you subbed him, and I agree with his point. I'll submit to you again. He did more than just make a point about my Tumblr account. He has made false accusations, accepting letters of other girls, and you haven't addressed any of that. What are these people saying? Who are these people? Because I don't know who they are. My point is trampled all over by you guys. You guys don't look at my point at all. You're just focusing on the one thing that he's bringing out and ignoring all this other. You say, could he have gone about it in a different way? It's more than just going about it in a different way. You need to look at the accusations he's making, false accusations. And you're not looking at that. I don't see evidence of peace and find peace life. I see a very tormented individual who's very, very, very bound and determined to drag as many people against me as he can. His motives and his heart has been revealed that none of this is corrective in love. None of it. He even wrote arrogantly on Google, I'm waiting for an apology. You'll never get it, buddy. You're the one that needs to apologize because you went above and beyond the sin that I was doing and you have gone way out there. Sorry, you're not a Nathan and you're not enlisted by God. I hate to tell you that. You're not God's little emissary. You're a disobedient, childish Christian who has not used a whole lot of discernment in the approach and style and lying, slandering, entertaining gossip letters from other people and saying, oh, I'm going to keep them all private. And you got this little thing going on with other girls on there. That's suspicious as hell, dude. No, you don't have peace. You didn't address the issue and drop it and leave it and move on. You're still going and still going and still going and still going and still going. Nathan came and said, you are that man, and he was out the door. You are still going. And you've created division in the camp, and you're stirring up hate, and you're stirring up strife, and now you got other Christians out there publicly denouncing me and making their little comments and doing their little things. Good job. You've really sown discord among brethren. Nice job. Yeah, you could turn that around and say, I've done that. No, I haven't. Thank you for making it public that Christians can't get along with each other. That's awesome. Thanks for doing that, Fine Peace. You scored points with Jesus. Not. And I said I wasn't going to mention you guys, but yeah, this stuff is ridiculous beyond words. They shall know we are Christians by our love, and I challenge you, Fine Peace, to prove to me that you've had love, any love for me whatsoever. It sure hasn't shown. A 3-year-old kid could understand by looking at your tactics and know that this isn't loving. And that is the problem of American Christianity. I was birthed in that. When I got saved, I was around a lot of churches that were quick to say, oh, look, he's doing this. Oh, look, he's doing that. And it took me a long time to realize that we were running around being Holy Spirit police fault finders. And can I be honest? When I look back, I was very punitive myself. I wasn't loving because I didn't care about the person. I truly didn't care. Oh, look, he's sinning. Christians are better than anybody else at forming a lynch mob of beating their own and injuring their wounded even more. That's not what the church is supposed to be about. Brother, I'm concerned you started this account. I'm concerned about the pictures you're posting. I'm concerned. Could you please listen to reason? Could you please stop? None of that was employed by any of the people that I have just mentioned. A lot of you said you liked my channel because I had the balls to talk about things, but none of you have the balls to come to me in private and say, but then after the fact, can I have your email? Hell no, you can't have my email. Are you freaking kidding? I don't know if you're going to give it to him. And, there's all these spider webs going on, and Bill Christ is in here, and this, and we got, oh, yeah, good idea. Let's give out my email, my phone number, and everything. Let's do that. That'd be awesome. There is lockdown on my channel now, and it's good. Pacific is a man. Pacific is not going to back up, and Pacific is not going to put his ship in full speed astern and bail out of here. And I'm going to stay here as long as I can until I get tired of doing it. And yes, I'm looking for another site to start a new venue, but when the battle gets tough, it's not time to leave. It's not time to retreat. It's time for me to push my steel majestic bow right into the enemy's camp and park it there and say, deal with it, and put the propellers in full speed ahead. And if you don't want to get out of the way, you get run over by Pacific Ocean Superliner. I'm tired of this stuff. No, that's not a physical threat. It's an analogy. I will continue to say the truth. And if you all, the little demons, want to writhe and squeal on my channel, go ahead. I'm glad I'm shaking up hell. I'm glad I'm shaking up Vil. I'm glad I'm shaking up Lore Master. I'm glad I'm shaking up all these people, because even we as Christians need some shaking up. And if there's one thing that's come out of this, more than the fact that Pacific looked at nudie images, I'm watching the way people are acting, and it's revealing that they need to grow up too. Yeah, all of us need to grow and work, don't we? You know what? It's evil out there, folks. Evil. And it's getting worse. And Christians are being sucked right into it. We all need to keep our discernment in full activation mode. We need to look at the big picture of what's going on. We need to stand back and watch something before we pounce. And your thing to shy about not reading his comments, the comments, in case you didn't know, were in the descriptive of his video, the July 4th update. Big, long paragraphs. If you didn't take the time to read that, that's your problem, not mine. Those were some pretty bad accusations. Most of them were flat-out lies. His agenda becomes clear, that he also wants to ruin my channel because he can't get as many followers as I can. I don't know what his motive is on that. Maybe he's jealous. Maybe he's upset. But his accusation that I believe in false doctrine, I will tell you something. I may not. And I'm not even going to say I may not. There are times I don't live up to what this says that I should. But I've never taught false teaching out of this book. Never. And I do have the mind of God on that. I have never taught false things. I don't know everything, but eternal security is as sure as Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. If we are not eternally secure, and if anybody on my channel believes you can lose your salvation, please get off my channel. I don't want heretic Christians hanging out here. Go away. No, Pacific is not TFL. True force loneliness. Pacific is different than most individuals. That some people don't want to be offensive and they want to be very careful to couch this and that. That's good. Go ahead. You want to play that little game? But the people that are here, they're here because, wow, this guy said, because I'm not politically correct and I tell it like it is, and I will continue to do so. No one's going to shape and mold me into their image. Nobody's been able to do it in 49 years, and it's not going to happen. I'm going to be who I am. That being said, I'm going to say the things I need to say. That being said, I'm going to tell you that the Bible's very clear on stuff, and I don't want heretics here. And I don't care if my views drop. Good. Sometimes it's time to take out the trash. No, I'm not saying all my viewers are trash. No, don't get me wrong. Don't read into that. But we got people on this channel that don't belong here. Their intentions aren't good. They're not here to get anything from this. They're here to stir up trouble. Strife causers. Evil. Get people against me. Stupid stuff. Why would I want them here? The older I get, I'm starting to realize churches need to stop appealing to bringing unbelievers in there. The church needs to be for saints. And the church needs to convict the saints. Women as well as men. Sorry, but Pacific isn't going to play little girl games. And I've been sensitive to one because she is my sister, and I've tried to be very careful how I've dealt with her, but I'm still disgusted by it, and I'm not going to play girl games. I'm the man. I'm the head of my ship. This is my channel, and this is the way I do things, and I'm not asking for you to submit to my authority because you're not my wife. But by the same token, don't expect me to go and put my arm around you and say, wow, sister, thank you. Hey, I don't need people like you on here. Get off at the next port and go away. Am I trying to drive away true Christians? No, I'm not. Right now, I don't feel like talking to even some of my close friends that are doing this. Try to figure out why. It's not that I'm being mean and hateful and spiteful. It's like, wow, we got a war going on here. My soldiers are just putzing out on me. Okay. That's cool. I'll stick with the real warriors, thank you. I'll stick with the big picture that's going on, and I'm not really worried about me making niceties with somebody that everybody else happens to like. That's great. If you like that person, like them. I'm not telling you to join my side and form an alliance against them. But just be aware, the comments are read, the thumbs up are watched, and it's like, gee, I know who my real friends are, and I know who they are, and I know the people by what they're saying on one channel, and then they're coming back, and you know what? Get out of here. That's girl, yeah, S-H-I-T. That's all it is. It's immature. You admire me because I have the guts. Well, then why don't you follow some example that I have set? Instead of hating and promoting strife, why didn't you write me, find peace, and say, Pacific, I'm disturbed by this Tumblr account? Why didn't you do that? And how is it that all these girls started writing you? Oh, because you made a video. And what girls were they? I'd like to know. To date, Find Peace hasn't made a video. To date, Find Peace hasn't showed himself. To date, Find Peace hasn't done anything following biblical protocol, starting with the very first thing, that if you have an offense against somebody, go to him and him alone. If he will not listen to you, take 2 or 3 others. You didn't follow that at all. You are full of yourself. You are deluded way more than you accuse me of. And you're not only teaching and believing false doctrine, you're modeling behavior right now that is not consistent with the Holy Ghost at all. End of story, period. I have the entire Word of God as testimony against your ways right now. You think your smoking gun is because you caught me in a sin. I acknowledge that. But you are still sinning and still going on and lying and exaggerating and encouraging people to gossip and write. And I guarantee you that most of that stuff you're getting is probably false. That again, that there might be one person who, because of a dysfunctional family, her sisters have said some stuff that were very personal about somebody I was involved with. And so what? Even if you were to post that on the internet, I'd say, yep, I did this, I did that. What? Oh no, they've sung me, I gotta go away in shame. It's not gonna happen, dude. I'm human, and if I did it, I did it. But I really think what's going on here, a bunch of people saying, I don't want you to reveal who I am. I tell you something, Pacific has learned in all of his 49 dysfunctional years, that if I am standing on the truth, I don't care. I will go forward. When things got so bad with some idiot shooting bottle launchers and rocket launcher fireworks and keeping the neighborhood at siege for 3 days, I'd had enough, and I was going to go to that front door and stand on the front step as I'm calling the police. And when they say, what are you doing? I'm calling the police, and I'm not moving until they get here. When I believe I'm right, I'll face anybody, even a punk poop stain. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of this stuff. I don't write comments behind people's backs. I don't play that game. If a bunch of people started writing me about Find Peace, I'd say, hey, are you willing to go forward in front of him and me? And if they say no, well, I'm going to let him know you sent me this letter. Yes, I would do that. I have found incredible power in that. I've had people at work come up and start talking to me. I said, you know what? Why don't we go get that other person? Oh, no. I said, then don't talk to me. Oh, but nope. If you're not willing to bring that other person into it, I'm done with this. No, the rest is just satanic, fleshly garbage that is not Christ-honoring. I have the proof. These people are still going round and round and spinning around in their toilet. Still. Look at the Google. Look at the stuff that they keep saying and keep posting and keep updating. Find Peace wants to have the last word. He's bound and determined to have the last word. He's bound and determined to pull as many people as he can and make it out that I've injured and damaged people. I've injured and damaged nobody. That's a lie. A complete bald-faced lie. And anybody who says that they don't want me to know who they are is proof that they are lying And they've got something to hide that they're not telling their part of the story, if indeed any of their stories actually even verifiably true. How's that for confidence? Because my confidence is at 100% right now. Yesterday, it wasn't. I get weary in this. I get weary in the battle, and there's times I want to give up and lay my sword down and go, screw it. And I was angry at God. I said, God, I tell you what. You got all these prohibitions against us, and it's hard enough to follow in your ways, and then you got all this going on. All I do is go to work, can't find somebody to hang with that I enjoy being around, and then you got this crap with one of my son's ex-friends who's still running around defecating all over everything. And then Loremaster hooking up with that. Sheesh. Let me give you a direct quote, and I wish I could open it, but I don't want it to interfere with the video. Several emails yesterday saying you don't want to look at the site. Hold tight, Pacific. This is less about you. And any of your fans, if they look at this site and see what he's posting now, they would be absolutely horrified and say that, oh my gosh, this guy is messed up. Not me, but the guy who made the site. These guys are going down the tubes. That's evident. They're manifesting suicidal tendencies, bloody fingernails, bloody this, evil, satanic, harm to oneself, gay videos, men doing it. I didn't see it. I don't want to see it. I don't even want to look. And it dawns on me, we are really sliding, aren't we, as a nation? The guy I was talking to working the garden yesterday was saying the cussing is so bad that that's all I hear all day long. He goes, do you know what it's going to be like in 20 years if we're even here? This country is even here. And I said, oh. How long is America going to keep on like this? That I just drive across the city and I don't look for it. It just happens. It unfolds right in front of you. Rudeness, inconsiderate. I've got my signal. You can't let me pull out and then pull behind me. I mean, people are just utterly selfish, utterly stupid. And so what if Anthony and others want to get on here? And that's not the Anthony I know. Some butt Scott that made some comments on Fine Pieces channel. Oh, and he says Scott's driving the speed limit about buttworm. That's all these people are, is buttworms that come up with different IDs, no picture, no videos. They're not out here talking about stuff. It's like the guys that sit at a theater. There's actually film critics that they're saying, this is bad casting. Do you have a production company? Do you have a crew? Do you have video equipment? Of course not. America's good at that. I'm an expert in baseball, but I don't know how to play it at all. Watch the Broncos. Watch any sports team in America. Watch American men after they've had too much liquor. Oh, you dumbass. You dropped the ball. What's your problem? Yeah, you're out there playing, aren't you? Big, fat boy sitting in your chair. Blah, 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 blah. Have some more guacamole. I'm so cool. I know all about football, but I'm not on the field. I'm a spectator. And that's what most of America's problem is. We've got all these spectators coming in on my channel. Oh, this guy looks like this. He says this. He does this. Good evening, sports fans, but you're not the one broadcasting, are ya? And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Y'all think you're little Paul Harveys, but you're not doing any broadcasting, are ya? You think you know everything about parenting and you don't have a kid and you haven't even grown up yourself and you're going to comment on my parenting skills? Butt stain? Maybe somebody needs to take a steel pole about 50 feet wide and ram that up your butt and ram it in and out a few times as it'll poke through the other side. And, you know, I don't have respect for a culture that is condoning such rampant sin, saying that marriage now is defined as a man and a woman, or a man and a man and a woman and a woman. And if you notice something, the gays are gathering their momentum as we speak and suing everybody that won't issue them a marriage license. They came after the bakeries in California now. It wasn't enough in Colorado. And the bakery people have been told they have to muzzle themselves and not say anything. You've got to be kidding me. Yeah, people like Bill Christ, our laws are starting to protect them, not us. Have you noticed? 30 years ago, it would have been unheard of to have a site where people were showing that they like butt effing people. That was unheard of. That stuff went on deep, 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 deep in secret, and you didn't know about it. But in the 80s, I saw it start to surface. I was friends with a Mormon guy, and there was some weird guy. There was a place called Forbing Park in Prescott, and it was weird. This guy bought a bunch of land, and people bought houses and had their junk cars on it. It was a weird neighborhood. And my Mormon buddy and his family lived on the edge of that park. And there was a man who would ride around on his motorcycle, an old pervert guy. And his name came up, and I said, "Who is this guy?" And my friend Tom's mother said, "My other sons were walking in the neighborhood back over there where there's trees, and they saw that he had his pants down, and he had a couple boys that were with him with their pants down, and they were all masturbating and touching each other." And I said, "Oh my gosh." The first time I heard of that, I was absolutely shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. The second time I heard of anything is I dated a girl who was weird. Her nickname was Spooky, and she was. I don't know what I was thinking. I worked at a factory. There was a guy I was friends with. He was definitely gay, and I didn't hang out with him, but he was definitely gay. And he was dating this girl, and he said, "She wants to get rid of a dog. Would you like a dog?" And I said, "Sure." It was an Airedale sheepdog mix. That dog was a problem, and I didn't have it for long. They came over to introduce me to the dog. I decided to take it, and his girlfriend kept making eyes at me. And I didn't find her particularly hot looking, but she was somewhat winsome, had that affect. Next day, Paul at work comes up to me and he says, "You like Nancy?" And that was his girlfriend. I said, "Yeah, she seems..." He says, "You can go out with her." I said, No, that's your girlfriend. I'm not cutting in." He says, "We're not going out. We're just friends. We went out." So sure enough, she and I started dating. And then she introduced me to her friend. And that was my introduction into the reality that women were doing weird stuff with each other. She sat there and told me that she had this friend that she was doing lesbian stuff with. And her mother, she was adopted just like me, and her mother had rejected her. Here I'm a Christian. And my mind was just shocked. It's like, this stuff goes on. And then she started telling me stories. She said, "Yeah, there's many guy friends I have that will tell me go over and go please my wife for a while. She's in need of a woman." This was in the 80s, and I was shocked at this stuff. I've always been slow on some things. I didn't date her very long. She was too out there for me. And it came to an end this way. I'd moved out of the place that my parents owned, the rental property that they had, and I moved downtown Prescott, the Hacienda Apartments. And one day her friend comes knocking on my door saying, "Since you've been involved with my friend, I don't get to see her anymore." I said, "Well, we're going out." And she goes, "Yeah, but she won't even come over and make love to me." And at that time, Pacific Sphere was like, "That's disgusting." I said, "Well, she shouldn't be making love to you. That's wrong." I was always too nice. And I finally told Nancy, I said, "This stuff's getting a little weird for me. I think that you and I need to go our separate ways." And we did. We kept in touch. We kept in touch even when I moved to Duluth, but I was not interested in her. But it taught me that a lot of this whole gay thing, this lie going around that people are born that way, that's a farce. I can look back with everybody I knew who was gay or lesbian, and almost always there's a common denominator. Bad family upbringing. Mother who just totally rejects the daughter. In this case, she was adopted, the adopted mother. And her mother had come up to her and said, I'd like to see you do it with your girlfriend right in front of me. Her mother had no respect for her. Do any of us stop and think of the effect that has on us? I'm watching what is played out with my own son, and I've seen the effects of just me divorcing his mother and going away from that. Has left hurts on him. And as a result of him getting involved with a couple of bad guys, one in particular, it has taken a while for him to start coming out of that. I will admit to my viewers that God gave me an insatiable, consuming desire when I first got saved to really know this. And I have a good grasp of Scripture. But it's been hard to live it out in every way, and that's true of any of us. But yes, I'm human, I'm alone, and it's one thing to talk and communicate with my fans. And believe me, there's many dramas that play out. I have a friend who's dating a Muslim guy in Yugoslavia, and girls that have had an interest in me, but they're all out of reach. I watched Maharani, and she and I were involved with each other online, and I've watched her parents just destroy any confidence she's had and tear her apart, and her sisters and her brother. And there's not a darn thing I can do about it. Everybody's yelling and screaming about everybody being on the internet, and yet you try to get involved in the real world of your family there, and it's more dysfunctional than getting online. The internet is not the problem. The problem is the human heart. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who could know it? It always boils down to what you do with it. Excuse me. Would any of my viewers tell me that a basketball is sinful? That a basketball is an instrument of evil? No, you wouldn't. But if I take that basketball and walk into a public place and just throw it in somebody's face that I don't know, is the basketball a bad object? Or is the person who threw it sinning? Now, that's a no-brainer, right? Stop and think about that analogy. American society saying guns are evil. A gun doesn't have a mind. A gun can't choose, can't make a choice between. A gun is only activated when a person's finger pulls the trigger. And yet we've got Nazis running around wanting to ban firearms. That really solves the problem, doesn't it? Even if you ban firearms, for crying out loud, I could run at somebody full force and poke this cock tube into their eye and do serious damage to them. I could take a baseball bat. I could take a hammer. What, are we going to start outlawing anything? And I'll say it again. Our society is so upside down, so in the Twilight Zone, that nobody, not one liberal, is talking about the way people drive their vehicles and how dangerous that is. Again, there are more people killed by reckless drivers, speeding drivers, people not following the rules, people not yielding the right of way, people not respecting, not using sufficient following distance. Why aren't we legislating against that? Why isn't the people getting together and saying, if you're caught aggressive driving, we're going to suspend your license for 6 months? Why are we not coming down hard on these people? Why are we not making people in SUVs? I watched a woman the other day turn the corner and move all the way to the left into oncoming traffic to make a right turn. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I could have made that right turn in my school bus from the right lane close to the curb, and you went all the way out there and almost clipped somebody who was in that right lane that you just cut off. You gotta be kidding me. America doesn't legislate the right way at all. They pick on commercial drivers. They pick on gun owners. But let's go a step further. Is it any wonder that we got poop stains all over our society when we've communicated loud and clear that your dog is more important than a human baby, when a spotted owl is more important, when Greenpeace can go out and ram Japanese fishing boats? There are Christians like that. Does anybody remember Steve Taylor? He was a little bit weird. He had a song called I Blew Up the Clinic. I blew up the clinic real good. It's about an ice cream man. He noticed that his crowd's thinning out around the ice cream truck, and he says, if I run out of youngsters, I'll be out of a job, so I blew up the clinic. I blew it up real good. He goes to the abortion clinic and blows it up, justifying it. And Steve Taylor was being satirical that, yes, abortion's wrong, but you go blow up the clinic. Yikes. And Christians do like to do that. They will justify an action because, well, God's against it. Be careful. Let God do that. Execution of judgment. Execution of judgment meaning the actual hands-on vengeance. Christians have no business blowing up abortion clinics. Christians have no business shooting abortion doctors. Let God take care of them. Christians have no business engaging in retributive vengeance. It is mine to repay, says the Lord. Do not seek revenge. That means don't even seek it. I mean, it's implied that you're not even to do it, but it says do not seek. Your mind, and we all do that. How many of us, be honest, have been in traffic and somebody does something, you honk, and they go, ah! What do? You find yourself speeding to go get around and catch up to that person to go, you're seeking revenge. I think it's funny, Lore Master made a big thing about me driving and hating all this road rage and that I probably shouldn't drive for a living. And I know the way people drive. I know that these people drive just as bad as what I'm talking about. People get convicted when you start hitting them right where they are. And the reason I'm a magnet for trouble, the reason churches in America aren't, is because churches aren't saying these kinds of things. Churches are too busy being PC, politically correct. Pastors won't step on the toes of women. When's the last time you've heard a pastor talk about Christians and their driving? I would challenge anybody. When's the last time you've heard your pastor preach on modesty? When's the last time you've heard your pastor preach on the dangers of feminism and how it's corrupting and leading astray and causing women to become very rebellious in this country? When's the last time you've heard a series on that? Churches focus on three things. Marriage, homosexuality, and abortion. Those are the three things you preach to the choir. We don't talk about materialism. I'm amazed at the way Americans live. We got different dishes. We got bowls and then bigger bowls and then bigger bowls and plates and little plates and tiny plates and this kind of a fork. And sheesh, Pacific has one spoon, one fork, a pot, a pan, and I'm content. I don't even need plates. I sure don't need fine china. I don't need wine goblets. I think of all the poverty in the world, and I think of Americans just consuming, filling their houses with so much stuff while people are in dire poverty. And I'm like, we need this many dishes. One bowl could double up as a bowl to put in fruit or applesauce or ice cream. It's amazing. The Pacific has become very practical. There is no peace for the wicked is true, and all you got to do is watch what they're doing and fomenting hate and darkness, and they're too blind to see it. Because what's happened is they've lived in it so long, they get glee from that. Satan owns them. And what's really funny is these people think they're free. Do you notice all this increase in doms and subs? Dominants and submissives in the bedroom. Guys that want to tie up, chain up, leather strap women, and women who want to do it. I'm going to say something that's demonic. Do you notice how many young people are putting themselves in bondage to Satan and proud of it? What they don't realize is that Satan will blowthorn every one of his followers in the end. You go, you serve me, sucker. Satan doesn't care about you. Satan doesn't love you. Satan didn't die for you. Satan won't give you eternal life. Satan won't give you peace. He gives you a false view of yourself. You ever notice these people? They have a higher opinion of themselves, and you just stand back as a Christian and you look at them and go, you've got to be kidding me. You think you're God's gift to women? No. You think you're God's gift to hygiene? No. You think you're God's gift to an apartment complex and another apartment complex and another apartment complex and live with this person and live with that person and live with that person and get kicked out and kicked out and kicked out and kicked out, but you grandstanded 1 year ago. I'm going to get my own place. You haven't had your own place yet, buddy boy. You drive a car that's covered in dents because you drive like a maniac. And I've seen it. It was nice looking once, and it's getting more dents. And you're back with grandma, and then you want to live with my ex, and then you talk so foul to her. Who do you think you are? You must be Satan's buddy, because Satan says, I shall be like the Most High, and you think you're the Most High. Sorry, I'm not going to bow to you, little boy. Can't do it. You're not a god. You're not anything. You're a disgusting piece of humanity, truly, in what you're doing. God can save you. God loves you. But I'm sorry, I'm human. I don't love what you're doing. I don't love the trouble you've caused and keep causing. You're not going anywhere, dude. You're not going anywhere at all. You're all talk. You haven't gotten yourself good employment. You haven't done anything productive to date. You don't have a house. You live with other people. You are dependent on those other people. And then they get tired of your shenanigans and ask you to leave. I've been in the same place I've been in for 3 years and haven't been asked to leave once. A woman tried to kick me out in Lantau because she was Mormon and somebody did something awful. Then she yelled and screamed at me one night and said, at the end of your month that you paid for, you need to leave. And I said, okay. I didn't argue. The next day I went into Hong Kong, went to the library, did my business, didn't even look for a place, was riding the tram to go get my lunch. She calls me, Pacific, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go get lunch. Did you find a place? I said, no, I haven't. Forget about what happened. I don't want you to go. Really? We weren't going out. We didn't play around. Because she knew that her argument against me was ridiculous. I never did anything to her, never did anything wrong, and she knew that. I paid my rent. I kept the place clean. I didn't go into her room. I didn't get into her stuff. When you're doing what's right, even your false accusers will be put to shame by your good deeds. That's what the Bible says. And yes, when I don't do good deeds, well, then I'm put to shame. But it's not a Christian's job to shame people. If you look at the Apostle Paul and the intention behind church discipline, it was to be restorative. If you look at what goes on the kangaroo court of YouTube, that none of that has been exhibiting Christianity as the Bible states. None of that. So when you got people saying, I believe heresy, and taking gossipy letters from who knows who female fans and encouraging them to send private videos of themselves. Yeah, you can talk Bible all you want, but that's all it is. Wah, wah, wah. And you know what? Pacific is a living specimen right here under the microscope, and I've put myself there, and I'll continue to put myself there. It's actually been freeing not to look at anything the last couple days. God's not done with me, viewers. And all the satanic attack causes me to refocus. Yeah, I'm in a battle. And why are you lusting after a bunch of ding-dong white women that don't want you anyway? Why? They're out there showing off their bodies. They don't care about anybody. I'm also getting tired of everybody saying, oh, these poor women are forced into porn. Give me a break. You can't fake smiles even in that. I've seen stuff where it's clearly contrived. I've also seen stuff where they're really getting into it. You can tell who the ones that are in it reluctantly. One thing I've had to learn that really shattered my view of American women is they'll do anything for money. Most of them will throw their integrity in the trash can. And we've got a lopsided Twilight Zone culture. Men are pigs, men are lust. They only think about one thing. But those same women don't say one peep about all the women promoting the whole industry. Do you know what it would take to shut down the porn industry? Not men not looking, but women stop showing up in front of the cameras to take money for it. You think I'm joking? Women could shut the porn industry down all by themselves if they just collectively got out and left. But our society likes to point the blame always in the wrong direction. It's men, it's men, it's men. Yes, Hugh Hefner started the site, but he also learned something very early on. Women will do anything for money. They'll take off their shirt. They'll do anything. He started in the late 50s when it was not cool to do that. He was looked at with disgust. That did not deter him one bit, because he had willing, busty women show up saying, I want a job. A lot of stuff is shelved over onto males when, in fact, usually when there's blame going on, there's a woman standing behind a fruit tree going, the serpent gave it to me. Ridiculous. The only thing I have to say to Bill Christ is, you know, it's sad watching what you're doing to your life. I'd actually like to see you become a successful human being. I really don't wish you ill will, but I will be honest, I'm human. You are a constant thorn and troublemaker, and you're proud of that, which shows me whose master you are, and you don't care. You're not intelligent. You're not sophisticated. You're not cosmopolitan. You're not a man. You're in a male body, but you're not a man. You're immature. You have not grown up. You leave a wake of destruction wherever you go. You don't own your own house. You don't live on your own. You can't support yourself. You've never supported yourself. You think Finland's so great, but you can't even get back there and make a living yourself, big boy. Don't even try to tell me how awesome you are because you kicked somebody's butt at Red Rocks. I can bring 9,000 people I know to come up and tear you to pieces that would just on their own sides. No, I wouldn't do that, but I'm saying I have fans right now that have written me saying, oh, I'd like to take a piece of this guy and tear him up. Because the things you're saying anger people. And one of these days, you're not going to be protected by law or anything. You're going to go mouth off to the wrong person, and they're going to stuff you in a garbage can where you belong. You're not waking up. Your own friends have tried to talk to you, and they're defecting your camp. They're seeing you going, okay, you're weird. You're scary. You're not tough. You're spooky. Running around with your upside down crosses and all your black garb and your fish hooks. Oh yeah, you're really studly looking, man. Dude, when you're 49 years old, I guarantee you won't even be as handsome as I am. You guffaw at that. And all those hot-looking girls ain't going to be going after you then. It'll even wonder if you'll make it to 49. You're on the Suicide Express. Because when you follow the Prince of Darkness, he wants you to kill yourself. And you're exhibiting all this evil, nasty behavior. And I'm not even talking about your bi preference. I'm talking about all that darkness stuff you post. It is bad, dude. Satan's goal, Vil Christ, is to destroy you. Satan's goal is to get you to think that you're going the right direction when you're headed over a cliff. And his goal is to get you to reject Christ and reject the truth and to spit all over the Bible and think that you're going the right way. And when he's done with you and you finally do end your life, he's going to look at you and go, sucker. Wait a minute, I thought you were... give me a break. I could care less about people. God created people. I hate them all. I just don't want them to choose him. You're not smart, dude. Let me read you something, Vil. Let me read you something you need to pay attention to. This is written to us as Christians, Vil, in case you don't understand context. Ephesians 6, verse 10. Excuse me. Boy, when I got to make an important video, this is just nuts. Excuse me. Who knows? Maybe I ate something at that Asian buffet that's making this go into overdrive. That could be. Ephesians. It's a book in the New Testament, if you're not familiar. Chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, be strong in the Lord. This is for those of us that are Christians. My strength comes from God. It doesn't come from some belief in me that, oh, I could kick his butt. That's not what drives me. One, because my Bible tells me I'm not supposed to be punching people and threatening them. Okay, so that's why I don't do that to you. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the full armor of God that you may be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. That's what it tells me, not you. You're already of the devil. You're in his camp. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the full armor of God that you may be able to resist in the evil day, and having done everything, to stand firm. Vil, I know you're not going to get this, and I wish you would. It's evident by the way you're acting that you didn't get love somewhere along the way. And can I tell you, I can relate to that. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you've become and made of yourself. But to you, I will say this. I'm sorry that you didn't get what you needed. I suffer the same problem. And instead of trying to have any kind of understanding there, you have just come at me and attacked me because you fail to realize that I have rights as a father, and I had a right to tell my son that you are not a good example for him to hang out with, and I will still maintain that. And if that sends you into a freaking tailspin, then I'll watch your fuselage go, so what? Get over your butt hurt, little boy. It's time to grow up and be a man. If you don't like criticism, then stop doing stuff that warrants that. You are deserving of criticism. You're not deserving of any praise. And if you want me to slap you on the back and say, atta boy, you ain't going to get it. You messed with my son. And then you overstep your bounds and shoot off your mouth and start a drama last summer to which you lost on. That cost me $1,500, little boy. $1,500. And it took me time to get my ex-wife to wake up. Do you know what's going on? And when she saw your Facebook and all your stupid little stuff on there, she cried with tears in front of her friend in a Jefferson County courthouse going, oh my gosh, I let him in trying to be Christian. You know what? When you got boys like this hanging around with our son, you're not supposed to be Christian. You don't let him move in. And then you got the audacity to come back and demand that she let you live there, and she says no, and you act like a little girl and cuss and yell and stamp your feet. You're not a man, child. You're not a man. You talk tough, you threaten. Dude, you're not a man. All the stuff you do is behind the scenes, little garbage, getting revenge, causing trouble, encouraging hate and discontent, threatening even the people that leave your little arena, that nobody's allowed to leave your side. I don't know what happened to you and your family, dude, but it's obviously all telltale signs that you grew up really dysfunctional. Well, so did I. But even I haven't sunk to your lows, and I've sunk to some pretty dang lows myself. I was bi-curious once. I've done all that. Thought it was fun at the time. I don't want to be with a man, dude. And I never had a man stick his penis up my butt, and I've never stuck mine up another's, and I don't want to. You know what? If you're into that, that's your business, but you are having an effect on my 15, then 14-and-a-half-year-old son. Yes, I have a right to say something. I hate to tell you, this is the United States of America. I have rights as a parent that you don't have as a 21, then 21-year-old mouthy punk. I hate to tell you this, but your way of thinking is effed up. Your thinking is not in accordance with truth. You deny the existence of God. You're showing nothing but hatred towards God because you're transposing your hatred towards your bad family situation and accusing God of all that. I know. I've been there too. You're not doing anything different than a host of satanic following people have been doing for centuries. They're mad, they're angry, so they're going to show their rebellion by wearing black, carrying upside-down crosses. You're not doing anything original. You're not doing anything new. And you look like, when I look at your side, that you're just spiraling down. Hey, if you want to end your life on that note, you're going to have the devil look at you and laugh his butt off and say, I owned you, man, and now you're going to the lake of fire, buddy. He doesn't care about you. God does. God loves you more than I do, and I can say that. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. If you want love, buddy, you might want to start looking for it from the only one who created love. You don't know what love is. You don't know the definition because it isn't defined by Vil Christ. It's defined by the Bible. 1 Corinthians 13. Let's talk about that because you need an education, boy, in biblical stuff. Love is patient, love is kind, and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. You brag, you're arrogant, you think you're tough. You don't know what love is, but let me read it to you again. Love is patient. Yeah, you're patient. Somebody says, no, you can't live here. You've had a track record. You've been a bad influence on our son. No, you can't live here, and you're patient, right? Yell and cuss at my ex. You're lucky she doesn't have a boyfriend right now to throttle your butt. Because in America, you start talking about somebody else's woman, you're liable to get hurt. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. Oh, here's one, Vil. Does not act unbecomingly. Boy, you're very unbecoming. You mouth off to everybody and anybody. You called the old people in this house retarded. Because when you came into this house without my invitation, when my son brought you over and I was suddenly put in a position and I still fed you and I was nice and I'm trying to get to know you, and she came out and said, I'm not comfortable with that guy, and you exploded. Man, you talk about a sensitive girl kind of a boy. You're not a man. People are uncomfortable with you, Vil, because the affect and the darkness it radiates. I felt it from the first time I met you. I felt something unholy and unrighteous emanating, and I felt it. I'm like, ooh, I don't like this feeling. No, you didn't scare me. I just thought, ooh, he's got the marks of the master all over him, and it's not God. Does not act unbecomingly. You're very unbecoming, young man. It does not seek its own. You seek your own. You're very self-centered. And then, to twist all that around, I fed and clothed your son. You did not. You gave him a shirt. You gave him some meals here and there, but you did not feed and clothe entirely. You got to be kidding me. Is not provoked. Boy, you're easily provoked. Somebody says the truth about you. Doesn't call your name, says the truth, and you're ready to, I'm going to kick his butt, pussy. You're provocable at all levels. And it doesn't take much, partner. Does not take into account a wrong suffered. Boy, you take all kinds of accounts, don't you? You're mad at me, mad at your parents, mad at your this, mad at everybody, blaming everybody except Vil Christ. Why did you take the name Christ? Who do you think you are? Here's one, Vil, that you get an A on. Not. Does not rejoice in unrighteousness. Boy, you rejoice in unrighteousness. You love evil. You love people getting threatened. You love penis and butts. You got mushrooms all over your page. You call yourself Butt Crusader. You want to talk about Pacific? If you put all my faults and you put my whole thing on a public camera, all the things I've done wrong, and ran it all together and edited out all the good parts of my life, and you put all the bad things you've done on a camera and edit out any good parts, and I don't think there's any good parts of your life. I haven't seen any. My video would be PG compared to yours. Yours would be rated X to the 100th power. Does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. You don't rejoice with the truth. You don't even know what the word truth is. Excuse me. I should title this video a real snot fest. Because it is. The stuff I'm talking about is just, it's ridiculous. I got any tissue on my lip. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Vil, by the authority vested in me from the power of God's word, you don't know what love is. You've been looking for it all your life, just like I have. And guess what? I haven't found it either, except in only one. The love of God. I can't find it in humans. Humans are fickle. Humans are untrustworthy. I look at the way you're acting. Boy, I wouldn't want you on my side. You're as fickle as they come. You turn against your own friends when they say something you don't want to hear. You explode, blow up, threaten, go into a rage. And then you know what you do? You give everybody a rash when they come over to your apartment because everybody's sitting around with no underpants on. Yeah, you're a real stellar human freaking being. God loves you. But if you think that I and others are going to keep silent and be bullied into the background because of the mighty Vil, you've got another thing coming. I'm an American. You're not. You're a Finlander. And you've come over to this country and you're awful to us. Awful. And you fit right in with a dragging, deteriorating sewer rat culture. You fit right in. But even some of those sewer rats are standing back and looking at you and going, ooh. No, I'm not calling my son's current friend a sewer rat. I respect him. I helped him move. You know why? Because he's a respectable human being. Does it mean I agree with everything and put my stamp on him? No, but he's been respectful to my ex. He's been respectful to my son. He even told my son, get off your butt. Do this, do that. You have not promoted anything good in my son. And my son, thank God, has gotten wise and seen that it's not productive to hang out with you. My son's allowed to form his own opinions about sexuality and this and that. But you're trouble. And if you think that I, as an American citizen who is older than you, who has way more experience than you, who's been around longer than you, thinks I'm going to bow to the mighty Vil Christ, you got another thing coming. No way. Pacific will say what he needs to say. And if you don't like it, go get a box of tissue and dry your eyes, okay? Grow up and become a man, Vil. Quit acting like a little girl on your Facebook with all your little ding-dong friends that are saying and mouthing off about things they know nothing of. Ignorant young people that haven't grown up. And I'm not saying all of them are that way, but I've seen the ones that made their little comments. Even the probation officer noticed that somebody on your page isn't showing up anymore. Because you know what? Rebellion is a fad too, and some people go, okay, I've made my little stand, but I'm done with it. But the longer people hang out with you, the more they start to run off. Which means you're the worst of the bunch. People are waking up to you, dude. I don't have a close following except on YouTube. I don't have friends in Colorado because I've seen the quality of people here, and it's toilet. You can lash out and lambaste, and you can go on your little disgusting page with Loremaster and post all the crap you want. People that are my real closest fans, they don't want to see that. It's unproductive. The only followers you're going to get that agree with you are a bunch of malcontents that follow the devil. I didn't say you worship the devil. I said you follow him. Devil's got a chain around your neck. Maybe they're anal beads. I don't know. But even my friends that have written me said that it's clear that you guys are all giving influence of Satan. I agree. My God is bigger than you, and my God will shut you down in time. If you think I'm going to live my life in fear of what you can do to me, you got another thing coming. God determines my end, not you. The Lakewood police are all over you. I've already called them and told them that you're back on it again. I've told the probation department that you're on it again. So, sundown, you better beware if I find you've been creeping around my back stairs. Is that a threat? Nope, it's a promise. You come into my territory and you try to do something to me, I got some Colorado laws in my favor, buddy. Make my day. Don't you dare threaten me. Don't you dare come on my property. Don't you dare come on my son's property. Don't you dare mess with my ex, because I've empowered them as well. And one of your own friends is aware of your shenanigans too. Go away. Go get lost, scram. Go find something else to do. You're a nuisance. You're a troublemaker. You're a little girl that hasn't grown up. You're acting extremely rebellious and childish. My God is bigger than you, and my God will stuff you in the end. If you keep rejecting him and keep maintaining your stance, he will snuff out your little candlestick one day. And all he has to do is go, pah. That's it. I don't live in an American culture where I submit to the bad boy image and, oh my gosh, he might do something to me. Bring it on, buddy. You do, and just trust me, God will get you. And the justice system will get you. Don't you threaten me. Don't you talk tough to me. Shut your mouth. Grow up. Show us the money. Show us that you're so successful. Show us that you can take care of your sorry ASS self and get a job in your own apartment without getting kicked out of it, without having 50 roommates that put up with your BS. Please show me the money, little boy. You pulled a real good grandstand act. Did you know that everybody in that apartment complex, people have come up to me and said, who was that idiot taking you on the front porch? I said, a butt stain. That's all you are, is a butt stain, a poop stain, an SHIT stain, as my own viewers, men and women, have referred to you as. Many women said I could kick his ASS. That's right. It's always the little guys that got the mouth going 90 miles an hour. I've never threatened you at all. You're the one running your mouth like a damn toilet bowl. You're a disgusting piece of humanity. You truly have descended to the lowest level of any human being I've ever met. I have my opinions about people, but man, you're number one worse out of anybody I've ever come into contact with. All you do is promote hate. All you do is promote darkness. All you've done when you were involved with my son is encourage him to rebel his parents, and you call yourself such a good example and that you were such a brother to him. You're not my son's brother, fool, because you didn't come from my semen, fool, and you didn't come from my seed, because I don't produce stuff like that. My son, even at his lowest, is better than you by 100,000%. He came to work with me the other day, and he's got a lot of growing to do, but at least he showed up. You mouth off to the men I work with, they'd show you the door real fast. I'd like to see you out there in the trucking industry with your little mouth running 90 miles an hour and see how far you get. I'd like to see you walk into a biker bar and shoot off that little tiny mouth of yours and watch those guys just get up. It seems to me you got a mouth on you, boy. You better shut up or I'm going to fix it right now. That's all you are. You talk out of your butt and you talk out of your lips. That's all you are. You're disgusting. The probation officer sees you. The Lakewood police, the detective looked at your site and they shake their head and go, this guy's an a-hole. Nobody has anything good to say about you that's actually done something with their life. You're a legend in your own mind. You see, you don't realize something, Bill. I have viewers on my channel that are bodybuilders and twice my size. And if they could legally do something, they'd show you the door. I had one guy offer to come out here and fix your wagon. I said, nope. I don't want to be responsible for any retributive vengeance towards this guy. Let God take care of him. You don't know that, but that's a true story. You're the one threatening. You're the one making threats. I think it's funny that nobody ever knows where you live because you're running so much and getting kicked out of so many places and you like hiding. But you're such a man. When you drop off my son in the last, when you were hanging out with him, you can't even, you go and park at the upper level of the complex. I was like, that's noteworthy. Mr. Man, huh? You got to do all this in secret? I praise God that my son is not hanging out with you anymore. I've been praying like crazy for that one. Now my next prayer is that you will just go away. And if I can stand testimony that if I pray persistent long enough, that too will happen. Either that or you get saved and come to your senses. I would love to see you get saved. I'd love to see you come to Jesus. I'd like to see what would happen if God could reach a guy like you. Because you know what? With all this hate and stuff you're fomenting, I'd still like to see you do something productive with your life and actually come to God and have your heart turned around and become an actual beautiful person inside instead of all this venomous hatred, foulness that just radiates from you at every pore. So go ahead and do all your little poop stain stuff all over the internet. Big freaking deal. You're showing more about yourself and less about me, you, Lore Master, and all the other clowns out there that think that this is so funny. Unbelievable. Why don't you post your address of where you live and your real name, Tyler? Why don't you post your real name, big guy? Why don't you? You're not a warrior. You're not a man. You're not an influence for good at all. You're getting sloppy, too. It's going to catch you eventually. It's going to catch you. You think you're not being watched? You are. I don't watch your page. I don't even look at it. It's disgusting. Your Facebook page is a testimony to utter darkness. So what if you have this many friends? These are not the kind of people that I would want if there's a war coming down as my soldiers. Heck no. It's time to knock off the emo stuff. It's time to grow up and become a man. I'm sorry you didn't have a father model that for you. You can criticize me all you want. You know nothing about my life except little snapshots here and there. You know nothing about parenting. I wonder how many girls you got pregnant that you made them have an abortion. I wonder how many girls that if you did get somebody pregnant, what kind of a father you'd be. Some people grow up when they have a kid. They look at themselves and go, ooh, I don't want my kid becoming like I am. But I don't know. You're so low that you probably don't care. You just birth another drag of society that causes stress, causes monetary damage, and causes problems all through society. Yeah, you were a good influence that night in January, weren't you? According to my son, he was asleep and he was placed into the car and you didn't even put a seatbelt on him. You really cared about your little brother, didn't you? You really cared about the fact the driver was intoxicated, didn't you? Don't you tell me you care. Did you pay for his health insurance? No, you can't. Did you give him a place to live and fund him entirely? No. A shirt here, a meal here. Wow, big deal. I could say I've done that for a plethora of girlfriends I went out with. But don't you tell me you provided for him. Don't tell me that you cared. You're childish, dude. In your limited, tiny, itsy-bitsy head of the pin understanding, yeah, you think you're the bee's knees of everything. You encourage him to rebel us. You encourage him to talk crap to us. My son never, ever, ever, ever disrespected me until you came into his life. I want you to think about that. Never. And you wonder why I don't accept you. You wonder why I don't like you and speak highly of you. Why would I? There's nothing good there to dig around in. Even if I dig at the lowest level of the dumpster and start scraping at the slime on the bottom of it, there's nothing worth salvaging there. God loves you, and he wants you to come to him. You're wasting your life, Phil. You're wasting it. You're frittering it away. And you're believing a lie every single day that you're doing what you're doing. You're believing you're some sort of a self-imposed legend. You're thinking you're such a warrior, such a man, such a everything, such a friend, such a provider. You know, when I was your age, I didn't even think that about myself. Pacific had his own apartment, and he managed the apartments at 21 years old. 21. And worked a full-time job, and had nice girls going to college that lived in the building, that we'd go to dinner together. My life and your life are so different, buddy. And the new crop of you people that are coming up, and I call them you people because we're not one and the same. You're disrespecting. You're the kind of people that are trashing our American values, sticking your middle finger in the face of the elderly, sticking your middle finger in the face of values, sticking your middle finger in the face of God, and I'm sorry, but I'm tired of it. If that's what it means to be an American, I'd rather defect, thank you very much, because if this is the direction America's going to keep heading, by the grace of God, I hope to God I can get out of here and move elsewhere. Because you know what? I'm sick and tired of people ripping the heart and soul of our nation apart. My friend from Yugoslavia had a mad crush on me. She's got involved with a Muslim man, but she said she'd never move to America. She said it's too perverted and too toilet. I agree. If you were over there in Yugoslavia with guys your age, they'd tear you in half. They're not very nice boys over there, but they wouldn't put up with you at all. You're safe here. You think you're big here. Dude, there's 3 million or 300 million people in the United States. At the end of the day, 99.9% of those 300 million Americans don't even know you exist, and nor do they care. And if we were to post your Facebook page and your little alliance with Loremaster's disgusting Encyclopedia Satanica page on the national news, most Americans would find that revolting and disgusting. I don't see you driving a nice car. I don't see you living in a middle-class house. I don't see you with a bank account. I see you leeching off everybody around and then getting kicked out and then mouthing off about every one of those people that show you the door. Vill's never wrong. Everybody else is. Even Pacific hasn't done that. I was only evicted from a place once, and it was because we had a slumlord buy the property after I had lived there for 2 years. The roof was leaking so bad that the ceiling in the attic caved in, crashed from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor. I had called the guy politely and said, it's leaking in my bathroom, it's leaking in my kitchen, the plaster's starting to sag. Then I called him on a Sunday morning, and he got angry because I woke him up. I said, I have called you for a year, and you haven't dealt with this. He served me an eviction notice the next day and gave me 2 months, not 1 month. I called the building inspector, City of Duluth. I got done with my bus routes, parked my bus in front of my house, which is an apartment building. Met the inspector. I took him into the building because he had to have my permission. I showed him. He wrote up a full complaint and slapped a judgment against him. Said, you got 30 days to fix this stuff or we're going to shut the building down. He called me and said, you sent the building inspector on me, you little a-hole. And I said, you know what? If you did what you were supposed to do and you got mad at me for waking you up, I pay my rent and the ceiling's coming down in my place. You might want to think about that. He tried to take my damage deposit. I went to his secretary and I said, I'm going to file a court thing, and I've already filed it. If you want to give me my $100 damage deposit that I laid down, yeah, it was that cheap back then. She goes, why is he denying it? I said, the place is cleaned. The guy was from Yugoslavia or Czechoslovakia, and he had bought up a bunch of apartment buildings. He had a reputation as a slumlord. Pacific has had a history of taking on the evil guys and standing up for the underdog. That's why I posted that minute work video, Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive. It was funny. Pacific lived in a whole different world than you did. I moved to Duluth in 1989. And I got a job in 3 weeks, got an apartment in 3 weeks. And I lived by myself for 5 years. Barely making it. I had no roommates then. I lived in a very cold Scandinavian place where the people weren't exactly warm fuzzies. And I kept forcing myself to stay. Because I love the beauty of Minnesota Lake Superior, love the winters, love driving a bus, and I was made fun of and I was laughed at by the locals. But then slowly I started to forge friendships. Now it's different today. Everybody's on the internet, everybody's ADD, and everybody's scatterbrained. But Vil, I grew up in a different world than you did. And I had dysfunctional parents, believe me. I was adopted and I was rejected twice. One by the mother who put me up for adoption, and by the parents that have nothing to do with me to this day and just still talk crap about me. But I moved on. Does it bother me? Of course it does. I didn't get the love I needed growing up. I didn't do everything perfect with my son because I was a broken human being, and my pastor said it well. We live in a broken world full of broken people making broken choices. You're no exception. But you take your darkness to such depths that I have to speak out on it. You haven't done any good for my son. You haven't done any good for anybody. You've got people deceived into thinking you're such a good influence. That's because these people have gone through their own stuff and they think you look pretty good for a while. And then when the masks all fall off and they live with you for a while, they're running out of there like rats on a sinking ship. Yeah, you got a big mouth. You got a big mouth that doesn't stop. And it's unreal. I never talked like that when I was your age. Because back then, things weren't politically correct. I would have gotten punched on the street in front of a bunch of witnesses, and they would have said he deserved it. You're protected. Little wussy boys like you are protected. Now, if I go and touch you or anybody touches you, we're immediately bound up in the court system, in jail. Same goes for you. You touch me, you threaten me, you do something, I will definitely get the law after you. Oh, noes! Ha ha, hee hee, ha ha, you laugh. When you shot out of that hospital parking garage and tried to run me over, you think I was afraid of you? What I was afraid of was that I didn't want to get into something where I had to defend myself. Because I wouldn't have stopped. I would have gone crazy. You don't have more rights than I do. I'm his dad. You're not. And you're not his brother. You can take that line of BS and stick it in the toilet where it belongs. All you little groupie BS crap. You are not my son, therefore you're not his brother. You have been a corrupting influence on my son. You did not help him to soar with eagle's wings. At all. Now that he's been away from you, at least his mind is getting geared more in the right direction. You have had a satanic, ungodly, unholy, unchristlike, disrespecting influence on him, and you are selfishly motivated. You had no business befriending a 14-and-a-half-year-old boy. None. When I was your age, I did not hang out with 14-and-a-half-year-old boys. Ever. Didn't even cross my freaking mind. I went to a factory, went to work. I hung out with people my age or older. Even somebody I work with who used to be emo looked at your Facebook page and said, you are disgusting. You are hideous. You are freaky. You are gross. She goes, oh my gosh, why would girls go after him? I said, I have no idea, because they're blinded by the devil. It's true. Girls don't want nice guys. They go after you. Sign that Satan's gotten into their hearts and controlled them as well. I have to say this because you've said a lot of shite about me, young man, and it's my turn. I have freedom of speech. I've looked into it, and I have the right to say what I need to say. You could not drive a school bus. You'd never make it. And you're saying that I, as a bus driver, has no right to talk? Ha ha, you gotta be kidding. I'd like to see you work at the truck dealership. I'd like to see you show respect to the men that are 4 times your size and much better shape than you are, physically. Even the guys that detail trucks that party every Friday night when they're done. Missing teeth, tattoos, big, fat, overweight guys out of shape with their butt crack showing. They look like people that could accompany Queen Elizabeth compared to you. And they're burnouts. I saw you walking down the street last winter. Maybe you don't remember this. I was driving my school bus. You turned around and looked, and I made eye contact, and you looked away, and I thought to myself, that's the right posture you need to take with me, young man. You couldn't drive a bus with a bunch of teenagers. They'd eat you for lunch. You're all talk, dude. You've been a mommy's boy too long or something, but you've never become a man. You've always, I'm going to do this. You haven't done anything but go down the toilet bowl. Yeah, I got a right to talk about you. I got every God-given right, every constitutional right, and by your own actions, I'm justified and vindicated to say what I need to say. How dare you take on a son's father? How dare you manipulate and get involved in a 14-and-a-half-year-old boy and do the things you do and say the things you say and encourage him to be rebellious and disrespecting towards his parents, and out of the other side of your mouth say you need to love your son and spend time with your son. Really? While you foment him to hate me? Nice job, big boy. You have a complete inability to look at yourself in the mirror of truth. It's not something that you're familiar with. You can't do it. You're a legend in your own mind. Let me remind you, in the Bible, Satan said, I shall be like the Most High. You're infused with that satanic thinking. Your little stupid thing on your Facebook page where you were so cocky in the court, saying all kinds of things about me, talking tough about me, putting my first and last name. You're an idiot. And you said when my wife walked in, Jay Diddy's in the house. And I talked to my ex about that. She goes, he didn't say any of that. That is not what happened. Yeah, you come off on your page as a rock star and you change the facts. You make it sound like you're such a responsible person and that you're cooking and you're cleaning the kitchen. Wow. Since you're not paying rent, that's awesome, buddy. You should be doing something. You really paint a picture of yourself, but then you look at all the crap on there. It's just garbage. It's girl stuff. I like butts and I cannot lie. Wow, that's awesome, dude. No hot rod rebuilding, no remodeling cars, no building a house, no taking care of a garden. You're not doing a thing. And you got the audacity to tell me I'm a failure because I don't own my own house? Dude, you'll never own a house. Not at the pace you're going. You keep it up, one of these days I might see you under a Colfax bridge going, can you spare 50 cents? And I'm going to say, hell no. You out of your mind? Denver's a good town for you. I was shocked after living here that Denver really is a low-class culture city. And I've lived a lot of places, and I've criticized every place I've lived in because America needs to be criticized. America has a problem in general of holding the mirror of truth up to their face. But Denver, my gosh, this is a great place for all the goth, medieval, pierced freaks that mouth off about the rest of us that are trying to make it through life and be responsible and treat people with kindness. You're not a kind individual. You're kind only if somebody likes you. Next time you text my ex-wife, maybe I ought to do a video. I'll have her forward all those texts me, and I'll read every one of them off on YouTube so my viewers can see what kind of a quality human being you're not. She's forwarded me some of those texts. You are extremely... You've crossed the line over and over and over again. Provoking people. You have all the signs of a kid who was never loved. You have all the signs of a guy who follows the devil. You have all the signs of a very unhappy, miserable existence. That's why you're injecting and broadcasting your infective pus all over the internet and all over the place. You're not a happy kid. You're not somebody who's at peace. Not at all. You're acting like the guy, the way you were acting around my son. You acted like the jilted lover when somebody cuts in on their girl. That's my son, dude. And then you make allegations on the page that I've touched my son. I talked to him about that. He says, what? Let me say something to you, punk. I've never touched my son inappropriately. Never even had a desire to. Even when I had my bi-curious stage, I never looked at young boys and said, ew, that's gross. I don't understand pedophiles and people who play with little boys and little girls. I don't get that. You, on the other hand, hanging out with 14-and-a-half-year-olds at 21, and now you're 22. Even my friend said, I don't understand why he wants to hang out with 14-year-old kids. I don't either. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me at all. By the way, all this stuff I'm talking about, this is all in a day's events in the life of Pacific. There is something wrong with our society. We've truly entered the Twilight Zone. Cue in the music. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It seemed like an ordinary American town. What they didn't realize is they were entering the Twilight Zone. We're there. When people are looking at me and saying, this guy's weird, this guy's a... Oh, I admit I'm different. I admit I'm a little odd. There's no doubt about that. But I am a child of God. Pacific Ocean Superliner is just simply a monogram. It's just a screen name. It's just fun. But this ship is owned by my master God. It isn't owned by Vil. It isn't owned by my trolls. I'm having more positive effect on my viewers than any of you are on yours. The only positive effect you're having is actually negative, causing them to laugh and to mock and to have brief, mild, put-down entertainment. Again, specific. You're not leading anybody to live more productive lives. You're not encouraging people to get substantial, gainful employment. You're not encouraging people to be homeowners and gardeners and house remodelers. You're not encouraging good relationships and marriage. All you're doing is orally diarrheating all over the internet. Pacific isn't even doing that. So for all the garbage you accuse me of and my sins and this and that, you guys aren't doing anything. You're not even up to my level. Not even up to my level. Like I said, sewer rats. I've seen sewer rats. Sewer rats and trolls are the same. I was walking a lady friend of mine home named Jackie in Hong Kong. I was walking her to Siam Poom one night. She had a little too much to drink, and I had to hold on to her or she'd stumble. It was the middle of the night. Businesses are closed, streets are dead, and I see 3 big rats squealing, running down the street, and then they go into this building up the stairs and go right into the flats. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. They're always scurrying around. Rats don't stand up and face you. They scurry away. When a human comes around, you shine a light on them. But when they're all together, they're scary. They're intimidating. When they're all down in their little sewer and somebody steps in there, oh my gosh. Remember, rats are more scared of you than you realize. Especially, let me read this in closing, because I need to remind my viewers of this. And then I got to eat my breakfast and get out of here. I apologize, viewers, for the sniffles. Please forgive me, and thank you for those of you that are mature enough to look past that. If I'm going to make videos when I'm perfectly perfect all the time, then, well, that's not going to happen. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. My strength doesn't come from my cronies, which I don't have any cronies, and I don't have groupies either. I have fans. I have people that... There's a few people I've allowed to be in my life that have influence on me for good. They don't encourage me to make Facebook pages of hatred and racism and penis stuff. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. You know why I get up and do what I do every day? Because God enables me. God gives me this day, not you. God gives me freedom of speech, not you. I will not be censored by you. I will not change my opinion of you. If you don't like it, pull up your big boy pants and cowboy up and become a man. We got a whole generation of young people that get butthurt when anybody calls a spade a spade. Give me a break. I grew up with a grandpa that would always say, Michael Mass, you're a character. You say anything that this young generation doesn't want to hear, to get their panties in a collective freaking wad and act like a bunch of little girls. No, you offended me. Oh, please. If this is the kind of men we're raising, oh my gosh, can we stop breeding women? Please, stop breeding. Stop it. No wonder a lot of women are getting tired of men. We're raising a bunch of pussies. Pussies. Let me say that one more time. Pussies. That talk. Good grief. Phil couldn't even pick up these 90-pound batteries day in and day out and do it. My son found that out the other day when I said, here, grab that battery. He couldn't. Tough isn't defined by flapping your mouth and thinking you kick everybody's butt, son. I'm sorry. Why am I calling you son? You're not my son. Tough isn't being threatening people. Tough is facing life every day. And even if you don't agree with somebody, learning to show respect to me as a parent. Whether you like or agree with my methodologies, and just because my son was your friend doesn't give you the right to mouth off and take me on. You're an idiot. Bona fide, certifiable, in the trash can with a lid with your name on it. Take to refuse center immediately. You have no right to take on somebody else's parent. Never. You have no right to act like a jilted lover when I say things about you that were true. This is America, buddy. This is my country. It is not yours. You want to come over here from Finland and bring your toxic hate, go get on that boat or that plane and go back home. Don't you dare come into my country and start talking about me and ripping on my channel. You're a buttworm. You're a poop stain. God loves you and he sent his son to die for you, but you're just saying no, no, no to God. Do you really think that you're going to triumph? You got to be kidding me. There's protection that comes to me because I'm a child of God. You may not realize that. You're not sovereign Lord. Only in your own little head on Facebook. I've been in an airplane at 36,000 feet, and it's really interesting, Bill. When you're down on Earth all day and it's cloudy, it starts feeling like Denver's closed in a snowstorm, but when you take a flight and you get above that, you can see forever. The sun, the glorious sun in the blue sky, and it's like, wow. When we're down here on Earth, we tend to focus on minutia. God's up there and sees the whole universe. You're focusing on a little tiny dark world and you're still coming after me, haven't matured, still talking crap about me. And you and your twisted morals think that it's right to take on authorities, take on a parent, raise hell, cause problems, and you're still fixated and focused on me, and you've done nothing to improve your state or well-being since my contact with you last summer. In fact, you've spiraled even lower. I can count on two hands the number of places that you've been kicked out of, moved out of, jobs lost, etc., all combined, and friends that have lost you and left you. Wow. A year. If you can't stand back and step outside of your egotistical legend in your own mind status and take a look at this, no, you go, boy, right down the slide, because you're going fast. God loves you, and the only way you're going to wake up is when you finally come to terms that all your little rebellion, all your hate is directed at nothing more than the Almighty God. You're using me as a poster, a target to shoot your little darts at, but your anger goes deeper than Pacific. Your anger is at God. Your anger is at your mommy and daddy that didn't love you. Your anger is at everything, and I understand that. But you're coming after the wrong people. That won't solve your anger problem. It won't solve your love problem. You need to go to God and yell at him and say, I'm angry what happened to me. He can take it. You need to sit down and talk to the God you're saying doesn't exist and that you're God. Give me a break. Yeah, you're a God, all right. You smell real good, too. Every time I've been around you, I want to say, dude, have you ever showered much? You're gross. Gross. You're not cute. You're not attractive. You're gross. You're scuzzy. And we're raising a crop of this. Go down to the 16th Street Mall in Denver. If you want to see a real Piccadilly circus of cross-section America, go down Colfax, go down 16th Street Mall, go down there and look at the drags, the kids with bell-bottom pants dragging on the ground. I remember one day this girl, Denver's had a history for many years of just draggy kids hanging around causing trouble. We were friends with a couple named Judith and Dave, and they were classy. We went to go to breakfast with them. We were standing there waiting to take the light rail one day. Some girl moves close to us. She's disgusting looking, hairy underarms, young goth kid with the bell-bottom pants, and the cuff is 3 inches longer than her shoes, so she's stepping on it. It's all covered with mud and water stain up that high. She's right next to us and goes and spits. Judith says, oh, that was classy. And she gives us that dagger look. And I said, uh-oh, we're all going to die. She just gave us the glare stare. And then she just hissed and frothed. And I said, you know what? You're disgusting. Get out of here. She wandered away after she hissed and manifested. It's like, you guys really think you're saving and changing the world, don't you? Not. I'm older than you. I speak the truth more than you. I stand on the truth more than you. I have rights and authority given to me by God that you will never be able to strip away. If you don't like what I say, shut your mouth, go away, and I won't talk about you. Let me say that again. If you don't like what I say, shut your mouth, go away, and I won't talk about you. But you fired your missiles into my camp last summer, and you've been doing it ever since. Shut your mouth and go away, little boy. Grow the F up. I don't ever want to see you again. I want nothing to do with you unless you become a born-again Christian and you get your life turned around. Then I'll shake your hand. But you need to shut up and go away. You're a disgusting human being. Disgusting. I have harsher things to say, but I will refrain from that. Make it known to you that I'm not afraid of you at all. So don't start making that crap up. Stop thinking you're a little legend in your own mind that you showed me. I'm bound by laws, young man, and if I wasn't, I would deal with you. Straight up and end it once and for all. But the laws, and my God says I cannot get revenge. So don't pull that crap on me. The fear that I have is a fear of God. Wow. These tissues are getting pretty raggedy. You know why I don't care if I blow my nose? Because I'm talking about you. I don't have to put on an act for anybody. Not my viewers. But I don't need to do nothing polished for you. It's not worth it. You're not polished. So if I blow my nose 10,000 times on this channel, it's fitting for what I got to talk about. Because you're acting like a little snot. That's why. I've wanted a long time to say this and I didn't. But when I saw you were aligned and you're blasting my name out there and you're doing what you're doing, it's time. You're not a man. You're not productive. You're not God. You're not a rock star. You're not anything but an evil, sinful little boy who's been butthurt by experiences and is taking it out on the world. There's been others just like you. They've come, they've gone. You've come, you'll go. I'm bound by Lawsville. I don't make threats. I said a year ago, you exaggerated like a little girl. I said, if I could dismember you on this front porch, I would do it. But since it's illegal to do so, I can't and I won't. I explained that to my attorney, and I was full well ready to say that by the judge. By the way, you never showed up at court, big man. Even my ex-wife was shocked at that. Interesting. How come you didn't show up? Because you don't have a pot to pee in and a case to stand on. It was thrown out. You're not very smart. Legends in their own minds usually aren't. So keep moving from apartment to apartment. Keep getting fired from Pizza Hut and all the different jobs you do. Keep showing the world what a stellar young man you are while you're ripping on my channel and you need a dick in your butt and all the crap that you and Laura put on your site. Keep it up. Keep it up. You haven't accomplished a darn thing that's of any value whatsoever. It's selfishly motivated. It's giving you guys glee. Selfish. Narcissistic. You don't care about my son. You don't care about him at all. You don't care about my ex. You don't care about me. You don't care about your friends that are defected. You don't care about anybody. You're a self-centered, narcissistic little boy that thinks you're a freaking legend and a god. You're darkness, dude. Satanic darkness. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if you're demonically possessed. I think so. Satan's goal is for you to take your life. And I look at the stuff all over the sites you had. It's garbage. You better wake up to who you're following, because he wants to destroy you. That isn't love. And you don't know the definition of love. You say you showed love to my baby brother. You're the baby boy. That son of mine is not your baby brother. You're the baby. You're the baby. You're beyond childish. You make an obstinate, rebellious toddler look better than you. This has been very freeing to come forward and finally let you have it, because you deserve it. You have been a horrible piece of humanity. Been a corrupting influence on my son, corrupting influence on the friends you hang out with, promoting hatred, promoting problems. All that spins off of you is drama and problems and groin rashes and butt pimples and all this other stuff. I know what's going on. You think you can hide it? Good grief, dude. Take a look at yourself. All in the day of life of Pacific. A guy who had a son, and I've had to deal with somebody I have no business having to even deal with. I didn't bring you into my life. You brought yourself into my life. And if you think I'm going to be quiet, and you think I'm going to be muzzled and censored by you because of your bully mouth tactics, guess again. There's 6 billion plus people in the world. There's 300 million Americans, and I guarantee you that at the end of the day, I will have more people on my side than are on yours any day of the year in America. As much as I complain about this country, there are people that if they were to put me out there and you out there and what you've been doing, there are parents and there are families and there are moral, upright people of all races, all sexes, all colors that would not side with you. Even one of my fans from Germany said he's only 14 and a half years old. Told you that on your site. And she is lesbian. When people that are of a same-sex lifestyle are telling you that you're overstepping a line and you're not listening, hello. You're running around in your underwear, Bill Christ. It's time for you to put your big boy pants on and cowboy up. It's time for you to stop running around in the sewer and being a little emo queen or king or whatever you think you are. It's disgusting, dude. Go get a job, go get an apartment, go get a life, go build on something, go buy yourself a nice car, start living some dream. Instead of sponging off everybody, leeching off everybody, and then turning on them when they get tired of you and tell you to get out. You said an awful lot of crap about your grandma. Maybe I ought to go down there and tell her the things you've been saying about her and what a piece of crap she is. And then she lets you move back in there over and over and over. She must not be that bad if she feels pity for you. I think I've called you exactly what you are, but you're too stupid to see it. You get on my channel and you get on my stuff and you make stuff. Yeah, you were blocked. Every one of my viewers, and I did not share your Facebook page. I was shocked one day when somebody published your name in the comments. I'm like, how did you find out? And I don't know how they did, but they found your page. And they wrote me and said, oh my gosh, I'm praying for you. This kid is disgusting. He's a creep. He's a freaking pedophile. He's gross. That's what they were saying. Girls came out, guys. And they found your page, and then they forwarded on to all my other fans, and everybody was horrified that saw it. Sewer rat. You're not welcome on this property, so don't ever come around. Because the minute you do, I'll call the police and I will have you physically hauled off. And I've already talked to the police and they said I can. Don't you ever come on this property. And you stay away from my son and you go find somebody else to corrupt. Find an adult, not a kid, not a minor, okay? Don't you dare grandstand about the good influence you were on him. I saw the effects of that. Him cussing and mouthing off at his mother, him cussing and mouthing off at me when he never did that. He may have had some anger issues with me because I divorced and moved away, and he's working those things out. But you didn't encourage us to have a relationship. You bad talked me and crap talked me because I said a couple things that hurt your feelings. And then you lied about it. You came to me at the front door and said, so you told your son you're against me because I'm gay. I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, I don't like you hanging around with an adult who makes an issue that he's bi. You're a minor. You're my son, and I don't know what his intentions are. But looking at your Facebook, your intentions are very clear. You like penises up butts. You've said that. You're a butt crusader. You said you get a hard-on over a man's ASS. I've read all your comments. You even had my son call himself a woman. And I started seeing in my mind, I started going, oh, if you can get my son to believe he's a girl, then you will start to massage him into thinking it's okay to have sex with you because, well, it's a girl, so since he's a girl, that's... And I'm not saying that he and you did anything. He says he hasn't. But I don't trust your intentions at all. You're a sexual deviant. I've had to deal with the stress of your bullcrap for months. And tell me something, young man. I've had to go to my job, deal with students, have liability on my head, and you're out there running around threatening and doing this and that. Yeah, you caused a lot of problems. And you go ahead and laugh. You were part of contributing alcohol to a minor. That case isn't closed yet, little boy. So I might suggest to you, you might want to get your car and move away. That's all I'm going to say. Because there can still be legal action against you. And I will make sure and tell my attorney you're living with your grandma. She's housing you. We can go after an estate. You think I'm joking around? I learned a lot about this stuff. You're not very wise, child. Get away from me. You're just going to get yourself in trouble. Stay away from me. Stay away from my son. Stay away from my ex. Leave us alone. Go away. I'm making myself clear. I'm giving you a fair warning. Even mentioned you legally. We can still legally come after you because of your part in that auto accident and your age. Yes, we can. You're causing trouble. And I haven't even thought about coming after you because we're trying to deal with things in a Christian fashion. But now you're threatening and making comments to my ex. And I'm going to call my attorney tomorrow if you don't. In fact, I am going to call him and say, go after him. You are provoking me. And because I don't believe in revenge, but if I can go through the law, I will. And if it means getting your butt in a courtroom where you got to testify and a judgment can be issued against you, hey, since you've caused so much problem and stress in my life, I am more than willing to see the law come down on you. You might want to get out of town and you might want to move away. Because you've caused nothing but trouble. And now that you've been saying things about me and you're back at it again, you've just given me reason to tell my attorney, you know what, if we can legally go after him, let's do it. I'm tired of it, dude. Tired of it. Oh, noes! It's going to catch you one of these days. If not with us and what you're doing, somebody's going to get you. The law's going to get you. You're living just under the radar, and we all know that, but you're getting dangerously close. You've crossed lines, and all the authorities and the LPD have said that. Wow, man. This is Pacific, and I'm signing off. I'm done with this. I have made it very clear to you, Vil, the way I feel about you. I've made it very clear, and I go on and on about the things you've done. There's a lot of stuff to tell. You in a hospital room in front of a nurse's station said you better watch your back, pussy. When we told you not to come into that room and leave my son alone, that it was parents' rights and we didn't want anybody in there. And then you shoot off your mouth saying that I was an a-hole. You know what? I had some hard things to say to my son, and I will never apologize for that. You were responsible for the people you're hanging out with, taking my son, bringing him into that environment for him getting hurt. You were responsible for that. And I don't have a right to be upset and comment? You gotta be kidding me, little boy. You're not a parent. You don't know what you're talking about. And all you are is evil. You're typical Denver drag material. Garbage. 16th Street Mall skate punk material that just gets in trouble. That isn't doing anything productive but just talking the big talk. Mouthing off about the cops. Mouthing off about my son's parents. Mouthing off about everybody except yourself. And then when you get kicked out of a place, mouthing off at them. When are these friends of yours going to learn that you're not very true and loyal? That as soon as they got to confront you with something you don't want to hear, you're out the door, mouthing off, threatening them. Heck, my son's friend right now saw your ways and he got clear of you, and he's actually strong. I don't know what to tell you, pal, but you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm being polite, telling you, go away. As you keep putting your finger in my eye and provoking me, I might just get the privilege of sitting in a courtroom while you give testimony, and I will stare at you the whole time you're doing it and say, how are you going to get out of this? I'm not afraid of you at all. You're the one that's threatened. You're the one that's caused trouble. You're the one that caused the injuries of my son that he's still suffering from. You're the one that can be sued for your involvement of contributing and giving alcohol to a minor. Hello? Go ahead and deny that. We got record of it. That's why we get attorneys. Because they know how to do things. You also said your friend blew zeros. That's a lie. That is not what the police report said. You're ignorant. You are drawing so much attention to yourself that instead of being wise and going away, you've got me refocusing, and now I'm going to call him, in fact, today and say, go after this guy. He's still causing trouble. Let's see if we can legally do something here. I'm tired of it, man. This is Pacific signing off. You have just entered the Twilight Zone. Bye-bye.